For the sake of argument, let's assume you're wrong, and that someday you won't be listening to the radio anymore. I know it's not easy to talk about, so I'll do the talking. If you're 50 plus and alive, or 50 to 75 in New York, you can apply for Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance with guaranteed acceptance regardless of your health. And since this life insurance is guaranteed, you don't have to get a medical exam. In fact, you don't even have to fill out a health questionnaire. For a free quote, visit GerberLifeFamily.com. Then when you stop, if you stop listening to the radio, your family can use the insurance money to help cover your final expenses or anything else. Your kids already inherited your ears, allergies, and questionable singing voice. Don't make them inherit your final expense tab too. Visit GerberLifeFamily.com. See website for terms and restrictions.
From lazy days and spontaneous adventures to revving up and reconnecting, you can almost feel the excitement building, the road ahead, and a whole new season of possibilities. It's back to cool time right now at Love Chevy with amazing savings on a lot chock full of brand new Tahoes, Suburbans, and the totally redesigned Chevy Traverse. A bolder exterior design, turbocharged V6, best-in-class cargo area, plenty of space for the team and the tailgate. Speaking of football, every day is game day at Love Chevy, where it's all about the fundamentals, honesty, integrity, and straight talk. No ridiculous add-on stickers like the other guys. And who could forget about Love Chevy's $1,000 low price guarantee? Get back to cool today at South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer, I-26 at Harbison, and at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
That's the power of love. Love Chevy.
WNKT-FM, Eastover, Columbia.
The home of the national champion, Gamecocks women's basketball team. Congrats, y'all.
A Cumulus media station.
The Halftime Show, sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina.
Not feeling like yourself? Call the Men's Clinic at 803-875-MENS.
The Halftime Show on the Game Network and the 107.5 The Game app.
12 o'clock on your Thursday afternoon. Welcome in. It is the Halftime Show. Tyler Head, Terry Ford along with you here. 2 days out from Kentucky. We've been previewing the Wildcats these past couple days, getting set for Saturday's matchup, and I'm sitting here still with more questions than answers on both sides. I've gone back and watched the Kentucky film. I've read a bunch of stuff on KSR and other sites like that about what this Kentucky team is, but I still feel like nobody really knows going into this weekend. You have a small sample size, and for them an even smaller sample size because they played an abbreviated game on Saturday, to where we could be surprised by a lot of things this weekend. Kentucky could come out and throw the ball over the yard and, go out there and put up 40 points on this defense, or Carolina's defense might just be that good and hold them under 15. I don't know which way this is going to go, which is what makes this matchup both intriguing and kind of scary at the same time, not exactly knowing what you're getting going into it, because much like South Carolina, Kentucky is full of a lot of new, starting with their quarterback in Brock Vandagriff, as well as a ton of other key guys coming in from the transfer portal that, again, we haven't seen even in a full game yet. To know what exactly they're made of going into this matchup. Kentucky, very heavy favorite as of right now, about 10.5 points. The line that is, sure to maybe change a little bit before we get to Saturday, but nevertheless, Carolina is the underdog going into this matchup up there in Kroger Field, looking to get a third straight victory over Kentucky in this series. I posed a question on our Twitter page yesterday. Question was, what is your confidence level for the Gamecocks to pull off the win in Kentucky? Your options were 100% confident, cautiously optimistic, doubtful but a chance, and completely pessimistic. Doubtful but a chance, bringing in almost half the vote with 49%. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, to be honest with you. As we've talked about plenty of times this week, this Carolina team under Shane Beamer on more than one occasion has shown you the ability to look terrible one week and look amazing the next week. So there's always that little bit of optimism in the back of your mind. This is another example of that. all right, game number 1, you went out there, things weren't clicking the way you wanted it to, and people were doubting you. Then you go out there and you put up 31 points and beat a solid Kentucky team. It could happen. But at the same time, you only have the 1-game sample size to go off of, like I was talking about, and you weren't thrilled with the clunkiness of the offense. Sellers had trouble connecting with his receivers. The offensive line, they had some good moments, but it wasn't leaps and bounds better than what we'd seen a season ago by any means. So you go into this matchup with a lot of doubts. And I think if we were to poll a lot of Carolina fans, hey, just straight up, who do you think's going to win this game? I think a lot of people would probably say Kentucky. And again, they played what is an equal type of opponent to what Old Dominion was, South Carolina and Southern Miss, and blanked them 31-0 before the game got called early in the third quarter. Now, Southern Miss did move the ball a little bit on them, but they generated takeaways. They were able to move the ball effectively on offense. Again, it seemed like, and Vandegrift coming in as a brand new quarterback seems to have good connections with all 3 of his main receivers in Dane Key, Barian Brown, and Jamari Macklin, as opposed to what South Carolina has here with Sellers and his receiving core. So the conventional thinking is that Kentucky is already that much farther ahead of South Carolina. Plus, given the fact they're playing a home game too, and as I've said, Kentucky is not the most daunting environment. It's not Death Valley on Saturday night, but still, home field advantage is home field advantage. And I am curious how Sellers handles that. How does he handle a rowdy crowd opposing him? You know what I mean? Which I'm sure he played plenty of good crowds in high school, but there's a difference between playing in front of a couple hundred or a couple thousand people and playing in front of, I don't even know what Kroger Field holds, but tens of thousands of people that are loud and screaming and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's going to be a test of maturity. It's going to be a test of, mental toughness more than anything else, to see how he handles that before going into much more daunting road environments later in the year in places like Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and Oxford, Mississippi, not to mention going to Clemson at the end of the year and, all those kind of games in between there. So it's intriguing. But again, I think as we sit here on Thursday looking ahead to this matchup, because we've talked about so many different angles of this game already, in a way, I feel like we're still just questioning things more than anything else because we don't know. And we're not going to know until Saturday. And we're either going to be talking about how much better this South Carolina team looks, or we're going to be really worried because they've gone out there and laid an egg against Kentucky. And oh, by the way, LSU's coming to town next weekend, so it's only going to get tougher from there. So I'm just, I don't know, perplexed is maybe the best word to describe where I'm at with this team and win this game right now, because we still just don't know everything yet.
Got to look up to see what perplexed means. Give me a second. Use all those big fancy words over there with your big fancy education.
I had to study for the ACT like everybody else.
All right, because I've had this asked to me multiple times today. Because Preston and I were talking, and I was talking to Elijah. Okay, so this game we've all circled as kind of like it's a measuring stick game, right? For
Definitely.
The season, in some ways.
Definitely.
Is it as simple as if you win, yay, and if you lose, oh my God, the world's ending? How about if you lose 23-20 and Alex Herrera misses a 48-yard field goal at the gun to tie the game? But you move the ball better than you did against Old Dominion. Your defense held up well. You went on the road in the SEC, and you were a missed kick away from tying a game going to overtime. Do you feel better than if you get beat 26-3?
You definitely feel better.
But do you feel better moving forward, or do you just say, oh, we just lost to Kentucky, we're screwed?
Well, I think, again, this is a game that we viewed as a very winnable game on a very tough schedule, so I think you're coming away from that, regardless of what the final score is on Monday, saying, well, I don't know if we make it to a bowl game now.
Because I was thinking about this, because when Preston and I were talking about it, and he asked me, he goes, do you think this is like a make-or-break game? I said, well, it's a little early for a make-or-break game, but obviously you look at your schedule, it's one of the more winnable SEC games on your schedule.
Sure.
I said, though, to me, it's, yes, you want to win. And if you lose, oh, that was one that maybe got away. But I also feel like it's how you lose if you do lose. Because a win, who cares, right? Like, you win, and that's all you care about. and you figure out the rest of it along the way. But if you lost a game that's really close at the end, and either you had the ball last with a chance to tie it or win it, and for whatever reason you don't do it, or Kentucky gets the ball last and they do go kick a game-winning field goal and knock you off 23-22, do you sit there and say, yeah, losing that game stinks because but do you feel better moving forward that you played much better against a much better opponent in their backyard? Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, if it's a case where, like, I don't know, you have 350-plus yards of offense, your receivers look like they're clicking, offensive line's opening up better holes, then I guess the concern would be on defense, like, well, why'd you let them score 23 or however many points they scored? So I don't think there's any scenario where you lose and have too much optimism coming out of this game, but there could be pockets of it, I guess.
I feel like if you go there and you get boat raced and the offense is clunky again, and this defense you were hoping to hang your hat on, you go, wow, they were so much better against Old Dominion. And all of a sudden you walk out of there losing 26-6 and you look like you didn't belong on the field. I think that's, my God.
This game is the true tone setter for the rest of the year going forward. Because, again, Old Dominion, not the best opponent, and we think the defense is really good. Maybe it was just you're playing a crappy Old Dominion team, and you look dominant that way.
Line,
and, you know, Kentucky's offensive line maybe pushing Dylan Stewart and Kyle Kennard around this weekend for all we know. I don't think it's going to happen. We hope that doesn't happen, but maybe it does. And again, this kind of gives you a better litmus test of where you're at in all phases of the game against a very evenly matched opponent.
And you know what's weird? If you look at the Shane Beamer era, going as we're in year 4, his teams are better later. They've always had been. Every year they've been better in November than they've been in September. And it's been a theme going into year 4. So I guess I also look at that as Septembers are typically a struggle. And last year, you didn't really win one you shouldn't have in September. Mm-hmm. But you did go 3-1. I mean November, but you did go 3-1.
Yes.
The year before, you won those 2. Then nobody thought you won against Tennessee and Clemson. I believe you beat Florida in November the year before that. I think Auburn was in November too. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure the Florida game was in November, his first year, Shane's first year. So it feels like these teams get better as the year goes along. So I guess looking at Kentucky, and I do think it's a litmus test for now. Where are you at now? Where are you at in the second week of the season with a tough schedule coming? How close is your football team to where you want it to be? I do think it's a true test of that. Does it mean your season's screwed if you lose? I can't go that far because these teams under Shane have gotten better every year.
Sure.
So it's like, well, I don't want to say that, but put it this way. If you get lit up, that's a different level of concern than if you go in there and play well and just get beat.
Right.
To me. Doesn't change one loss record. Loss a loss, right?
Right.
But because I'll say this, and I think Preston and I were also talking about this. I'm trying to think of in my life, either for my favorite teams or the 46 places I've done sports talk in this country. Okay, 45, I exaggerate. Have I ever seen a win feel more like a loss than that Old Dominion game to this fan base?
You'd be hard-pressed to find one.
I'm trying to think of one, man.
That's definitely the worst win of the Beamer era,
yeah.
I feel like, and unless people were just that down on the, Georgia State game a couple years ago before I got here. But I don't think that qualifies the same way.
It wasn't, because the special teams made plays in that game, and you were like,
and
hey.
you ended up winning by 3 touchdowns in that one. So, yeah, 4-point win against a team that you were favored by 3 touchdowns against in week number 1. Yeah, that... again, I brought up the point on Monday. Walking out of the stadium on Saturday, nobody was talking.
No.
Everybody was just kind of like stunned. Like, did we really just watch that happen? Like, that was a collective thought it felt like from everybody after witnessing that.
Yeah, nobody was complaining, but nobody was celebrating.
Exactly.
It was almost like numb.
It was a weird, like purgatory, like, yeah, we won, but did we actually win?
It was funny. I was walking out. I think I was a little bit behind you when I was walking out. And you're right, nobody was really saying anything. Until one guy was walking with his kid, and you could smell like somebody had the barbecue going on a post tailgate, right? Post game tailgate. Yeah. And all of a sudden, guy looked over at me and went, "That smell good?" Like, yep. He goes, man, I'm getting hungry again. I mean, you want to go down there and see if we can steal some food? He's like, that does smell good. That's the conversation I heard walking was about somebody's barbecue.
Right.
So I did it because when Preston and I were talking, it was like, I'll be honest with you, man, off the top of my head, I can't think of a win where a fan base felt worse than this fan base does after that win. We have to remind people on the air that they actually won the game.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't feel that way.
No, and so going into Kentucky, and we're kind of talking about this also because our Twitter X poll just ended. And the Twitter X.
That's what I was bringing up at the start, kind of where your feelings are going into this game, because I'm kind of with the winning result that, like, you're hopeful that they go in there, but based on what we've seen, it's a one-game sample size. I don't have the highest hopes right now.
Right now, the winner of our Twitter X poll, and it's poll question of the day, what is your confidence level for the Gamecocks to pull off the win at Kentucky? 100% confident got 5%, the lowest. Cautiously optimistic was number 2 at 25%. Completely pessimistic was number 3 at 22%. Doubtful but a chance won at 49%. And this is 251 votes, 1,500 people viewed. Thank you very much. Out of 250 folks, half of them think it's doubtful that you'll win in Lexington.
And I mean, it's hard to argue with that because, again, based on what you saw, and then you watch Kentucky play a similar type of opponent in Southern Miss. Yeah, it was an abbreviated game, but they didn't look perfect, but they looked a whole lot better than Carolina did.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, you set up an Old Dominion game, and we talk about this going into the game. This is a team that does hang around. They've covered the spread on 4 out of 6 times with Ricky Ronnie as the head coach, but you feel you're going to have a comfortable win in some way, shape, or form, pull away. I want to get into I saw the stat I've been wanting to see. Share it with you next. Halftime show. Terry Ford, Tyler Head on the game.
107.5 The Game.
In Columbia.
100.5 The Game.
In Florence.
100.3 The Game.
In Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. Sips and Sounds, the only craft beer, wine, and spirits tasting event held indoors under the cool AC. No rain, no heat, no worries. Unlimited sampling of over 40 brands of local and national craft beers, wine, seltzers, and spirits. Live performances by Ken and Drew of Sister Hazel, Dazer, and the Donovan Twins.
Saturday, September 28th. Get your unlimited tasting wristbands now at sipsandsoundscola.com.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20,000 off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
South Carolina residents turning 65 or approaching retirement, this is it. The time to choose your Medicare coverage is here. But don't panic and settle for a plan that doesn't fit, because the Blue Cross Blue Shield of South Carolina Medicare team is standing by with plans that let you choose from our large network of doctors and hospitals and fast local service. Call 833-747-0533. 833-747-0533 now.
Honey, look, the hookers. They've moved off the highway and now they're all over the parking lot.
What are all those Schroeder's towing trucks doing in that parking lot, though?
Must be towing all those unauthorized cars parked in the lot. Good thing the business owner called Schroeder's Towing to keep their parking lot clear for just their customers. Didn't those cars see the free signage that Schroeder's provides to business owners to deter unauthorized parking?
I guess not.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
Living with persistent pain and facing joint replacement? You want the best surgeon and technology available. You'll find both at Midlands Orthopedics and Neurosurgery. Using the most advanced technology, including robotics, our experienced orthopedic surgeons, nurses, and technicians perform hip, knee, shoulder, wrist, and elbow replacement, as well as hip resurfacing with no hospital stay, excellent outcomes, and lower costs to you. Midlands Orthopedics and Neurosurgery.
Craving something truly authentic? Look no further than Falafel King, your go-to spot for the best Mediterranean and Indian cuisine in South Carolina. Located at 2020 A. Gervais Street in Columbia. Whether you're in the mood for savory lamb, mouth-watering chicken, fresh salmon, or flavorful shrimp, they've got it all. Enjoy it over rice, wrapped in crisp lettuce, or on a warm pita, paired with your choice of 2 delicious sides. And the best part? You can dine in, take out, or have it delivered straight to your door, all at an unbeatable price. Don't wait. Call 803-888-7844 to place your order now. Falafel King is the sweet deal of the week. Get a $50 gift certificate for just $25. Visit 1075thegame.com beginning this Friday at 9 a.m. to get your $50 gift certificate to Falafel King for just $25. Falafel King, 2028 Gervais Street in Columbia, 803-888-7844.
This year, Roy and Dana Finley are shaking things up at AAA Heating and Air. For the next 12 months, they're telling their customers no. Get a new system purchase with no payments and no interest until 2025. And don't forget their 15-year parts and labor warranty, $1,500 old system buyback, and guaranteed financing. So do what I did. Call AAA Heating and Air for your free estimate today and tell them Jay Phillips sent you.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
When there's work to do, ground to break, and a reputation to uphold, you need the powerful, durable Kubota RTVX, North America's #1 selling diesel utility vehicle. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 36 months or save $300. Now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Stop by Pioneer Farm Equipment in Orangeburg, 1 mile off of I-26 exit 154B, or at pioneerfarmsc.com.
Back for a limited time only, it's Firehouse Subs Barbecue Cuban Sub featuring slow smoked pulled pork, honey ham, melted Swiss, golden mustard barbecue sauce, chipotle slaw, and spicy pickle chips, all on a toasted sub roll. It's Southern roots with a Cuban twist. Try the Barbecue Cuban Sub at Firehouse Subs today. They make their subs differently because their subs can make a difference every day. At Firehouse Subs, a portion of every purchase helps provide much needed life-saving equipment to first responders across the country. Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs, save more lives.
The Halftime Show, sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina, on your home of the Gamecocks. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence. And the 107.5 The Game app.
Halftime show, Terry Ford, Tyler Head, as we roll into week 2 of the college football season. Tonight is the start of the NFL season in Kansas City. My Baltimore Ravens, yes, I'm part owner, will take on the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead. You can hear it here starting, I believe, 7:30. Our coverage kicks in with the pre. 8:20 is the kickoff as our Thursday night football package starts for the year from Westwood One. Real quick, and we'll talk about more later. What's it? Chiefs by 3. I think Kansas City wins at home. Mahomes, Mahomes has thrown for more yards per game against the Ravens than any other team he's faced in the NFL.
Well, what? I mean, he's owned them in the matchup, at least with Lamar Jackson. That's 1-4.
Yeah, the Ravens have only beaten the Chiefs one time since it's been Mahomes and Lamar.
Yeah.
And it just, Kansas City's been the better team, and I think they're the better team again tonight. Now, look, Kansas City last year, remember, they lost the opener to the Lions last year.
Yep.
And Kansas City kind of scuffled out of the gate last year, and it was all gloom and doom. Who won the Super Bowl last year?
It'd be Kansas City.
Yeah.
Well, I think that speaks to how great of a team they are in general. The fact that they struggled more than anybody else last year when it came to wide receiver drops and just not having as efficient of a wide receiver core as they'd had in years past, and they still managed to win the Super Bowl with that. Now, it got better once they got into the playoffs, but through the entire regular season, they looked kind of hapless when it came to the receiving spot.
The scary part of the Chiefs was if you look at Patrick Mahomes' numbers last year, the worst numbers of his career.
Mm-hmm.
They had wide receivers who basically couldn't catch the football. And they won the Super Bowl on the strength of their defense. So if Xavier Worthy and the other receivers they brought in, Marquise Brown, if he can ever stay healthy, and Xavier Worthy, first-round pick from Texas, if they inject the explosiveness back into that offense to go with a defense now that's pretty bleeping good, they might navigate themselves to a three-peat, which typically I would say would never happen because the football gods at some point take a dumper on you, right?
Right.
They might go 3 in a row if they stay healthy, which is always a big question. So they open up tonight against my Baltimore Ravens. I have a feeling Kansas City wins. Look, the Ravens are replacing 3 starters on the offensive line. Typically not a great recipe in September when you're trying to figure it out.
Not against that defensive front that the Chiefs have.
That guy named Chris Jones is pretty good at hitting your quarterback.
I say he's actually going to play in the opener this year instead of sitting up in the box suite.
And thank God Lamar Jackson can move. He might have to move a lot tonight. So that's tonight here, 7:30. The pregame coverage starts on the game in Columbia at 107.5. South Carolina, Gamecocks, Wildcats, Saturday at Kroger in Lexington. Here's the number. There's 2 numbers, Tyler, we were talking about looking at for this season. Little deep dive numbers. One is success rate on first down for the South Carolina offense. And the second is yards before contact in the running game. Yards the running back gains before the opposition hits them. 2 important stats. The success rate on first down on Saturday, I believe, was 7 for 30. You had 30 opportunities on 1st and 10. You gave 5 yards or more on 7 of those 30 occasions. That's 26%. That's got to get better. You want to give the yards before contact? You want to guess? Will we give you multiple choice to make it fair?
Now, are we talking collectively here as the whole?
Collectively.
Okay.
As a team.
Give me multiple choice.
All right. Multiple choice is 75, 61, 44.
Yards before contact. I'll go collectively 44.
61.
61.
That's it. They averaged a little bit over 1 yard. Remember, they had 56 official runs, but you had 3 kneel downs.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you had 53 rushing attempts. You gained 61 yards before contact. That's barely over a yard before contact.
Right.
That has to get better, too.
Well, that's something they struggled with last year, where, again, you're getting a handoff and boom, there's somebody immediately in your face. Now, Rocket Sanders, as his skill set suggests, is good at breaking tackles. So he can get you extra yards where some of these other backs might not be able to, but still there's an underlying problem with this offensive line that you're letting penetration get in your backfield to where Sanders is having to break tackles. He's having to do more work as soon as he gets the ball, as opposed to having wide open running lanes.
Yeah, as a team, South Carolina averaged 3.68 yards after contact. And Rocket Sanders himself, 3.67 yards after contact. That's good work. That's good work breaking tackles and making some positive yardage out of a negative situation. So that's good. But 1 yard before contact, or roughly a little bit over 1 yard before contact, that's not very good. So that's got to get better. So those 2 stats we're looking at, neither one very good in week 1 against Old Dominion. And success rate on first down, there's 3 pieces to it. We're just sticking to the basic success rate on first down. And that means gaining at least 5 yards on first down. Only 7 times in 30 opportunities did South Carolina do that on Saturday. So it's got to get better. All right, Dow Logan, speaking to the media yesterday, let's get to cut one here, Tyler. Dow talking about any scheme issues that could have caused the poor execution on Saturday versus Old Dominion.
Oh, sure. And also, as coaches, we take responsibility. If your player doesn't execute the way you want him to, that starts with the coach first. Like, the kids just watch the tape. They evaluate themselves. They go out there and perform to the best of their ability. But for us, it's about having better practice. And there's a saying that I've heard a long time from some of the guys that I work for, and it's practice execution equals game day reality. And we practiced better this week than we did last week. So I think it's us coaching better to help our players execute better. I think that's where it starts.
Yeah, I mean, and Dow's right. I mean, you know, even if players don't execute, you as a coach, you got to go, okay, what do we do? What can we do better to help them execute? By the way, Dow, no hat.
Dow looked a little it's really funny to me. You can tell when Dow has spent a lot of time in the film room during the week because he's got, like, the grown-out beard. It looks a little, like, disheveled to a degree. I think he spent a lot of time in the film room this week looking over what happened on Saturday because, and obviously we weren't thrilled with it as a, media and a fan base. I can't imagine he was too thrilled with what he saw out there either.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the presser with Dow and like, wow, he has the hat off, showing the hair. I'm jealous. I wish I had that hair. Got some growth on the face. I wonder how many kegs of coffee he kicked while he was checking the film this week.
Probably a few. Lot to go over.
Oh, yeah.
And again, you're taking a significant step in defensive quality that you're going up against this weekend, where things you might have gotten away with this past weekend aren't going to work against Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, Walker alone, the interior defensive lineman who's just an animal, who'll be a first-round pick in the NFL draft, he's almost unblockable. He is a game wrecker from the inside. So I'm guessing you'll be doubling him with a center and a guard. And so you're going to be dealing with that guy. J.J. Weaver off the edge. There's times J.J. Weaver's really good coming off the edge. Oxendine, the other defensive lineman, solid. They've got the linebacker from Georgia, Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
No, is it Robinson?
Jamon Dumas Johnson.
Yeah, Johnson, Robinson, Smith. Johnson, who's a solid player, had a solid year at Georgia. And they've got some others as well who have come in on that front level of their defense. They're good. Much better than you saw against Old Dominion.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll continue on this road. We'll come back. We'll hear Dow talk about the red zone struggles in Week 1 against Old Dominion. All right, it's a halftime show. We will be today from 3 to 6. We're going to hang out at Hardee's on Piney Grove Road, doing a roundup program for Hardee's and Harvest of Hope for Children to basically feed the kids in the Midlands who need it. So if you go to Hardee's and you say it's $4.22, round it up to $5, that change goes directly to the cause. Hopefully we can get enough to build it up to the cause to help the hunger issues for the children here in our region. So that's today, 3 to 6. We'll be hanging out at Piney Grove. All right, halftime show. Terry Ford, Tyler Head, till 3 on the game.
The Game Network in Columbia.
107.5 The Game.
In Florence.
100.5 The Game.
In Myrtle Beach.
100.3 The Game.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV.
Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. A true reflection of quality.
The Game TV.
Hey, Mom and Dad, you know what back to school really means. It means rides. Rides to school, rides to practice, rides to meet other rides, rides to everywhere. This year, make all those rides comfortable, safe, and affordable with a new Honda from Honda of Columbia. School, soccer, football, dance, wherever you're headed. Ride in style and comfort with amazing technology, leading-edge safety, great gas mileage, and room for everything. Enjoy a no-hassle pricing and no-pressure buying experience at Honda of Columbia. Highway 378 at I-20.
Hey, this is Ray.
And Mary Ann with Absolute Glass.
We've been blessed to serve the Midlands glass needs for 20 years.
We have been fortunate enough to help thousands of customers with the best glass service in town in our store and all over the Midlands.
Sure, we can fix your windshield, usually at no cost to you.
But at Absolute Glass, we can also care for all your other glass needs too.
Home windows, shower doors, tabletops, shelving, storefronts, and all your commercial needs.
Contact us at 803-951-7200 or at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
Recently, the show was introduced to the coolest walkie-talkies, Rapid Radios, instant push-to-talk devices providing clear contact nationwide on an LTE network. 100% private, perfect for small business owners to connect with their staff. No subscriptions or monthly fees. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and get up to 60% off, free UPS shipping, and a free protection bag. Add the code RADIO and get an extra 5% off. Rapid Radios. Hiring somebody is difficult. Express Employment professionals want to make it easier. Forget about posting jobs, sifting through resumes, being ghosted, and interviews with unqualified applicants. Move up to the pros with ExpressPros.com because every year, Express Employment Professionals helps tens of thousands of companies find workers, with more than 40% of them in the supply chain industry. When you get ready to improve your hiring efficiency, choose Express. ExpressPros.com to find the location nearest you. ExpressPros.com.
Join Lexington Medical Center for the Tunnel to Towers Columbia 5K Run and Walk on Friday, September 13th at 7 p.m. This unforgettable patriotic event champions the heroism of our nation's first responders and service members. Then stick around for the after party featuring live music, family-friendly events, and food trucks. Walk or run to honor our heroes. To register, visit T2TRun.org. Opening ceremony at 6 p.m. You haven't tasted real Carolina barbecue until you've experienced Little Pig's Barbecue. Full service dine-in buffet with barbecue, ribs, brisket, chicken, rice, hash, tomato pie, macaroni and cheese, and many more of your favorites. Eat in or take out. Little Pig's Barbecue on Alpine Road has new hours. Now open from 11 to 8 Thursday through Saturday and 11 to 3 on Sunday. Little Pig's Barbecue on Alpine Road. Little Pig's family looks forward to seeing you.
Call Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning today and mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game to get a free hallway cleaned with 3 rooms of carpet for only $129. Book online at ZerorezColumbia.com.
Are you a Gamecock fan that's looking for flexibility to attend the games you want without committing to season tickets? If so, the Gamecock Go Pass is for you. For only $20 a month, your Gamecock Go Pass subscription provides you with access to all non-conference football games, most men's and women's basketball and baseball games, and all softball, soccer, and volleyball games. Plus, you have the ability to add on tickets for conference football games and premier basketball and baseball games for an additional cost. To learn more and sign up today, visit thegamecockclub.com/go.
Hey, it's Rich Eisen here. Join me and my compadre, Chris Brockman, every Monday on the Overreaction Monday podcast.
I'm also saying the record's going to go down.
I'm saying the record's going down anyway. The guy.
I don't think you're off on this at all. Like, you're spot on here. I don't think this is an overreaction because we have no idea what we're reacting to. Come react or overreact with us. How would you say that? An overreaction, sir. Overreaction Monday. Wherever you listen, it's game over. Over, man.
What you're talking about.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet
on the Game Network.
We're talking some dialogue and sound from yesterday. Gamecock offensive coordinator jumping in, his thoughts, sharing them with the media following last week's, and it was a win. It was a win over Old Dominion, 23-19. Hit us up. Firehouse subtext line, Love Chevy phone line, 803-404-6100. Your thoughts, feel free. We're going to go over this in just a little bit. The script. Typically, it's first 10, 15 plays are script. And sometimes 20, depending on the OC, but usually it's 10 to 15 range. And in the NFL, sometimes it's up to 20. But that script is built, from what I've been told by people who build them, and everybody's different. But typically, you are, first of all, running what you think is your best stuff, right?
Right.
And 2, you're running stuff to see how the defense reacts so you can set up other stuff later in the game. Or you watch how they defend certain things so you know, do we keep going down that road or do we attack them in a different way as the game moves along? But sometimes you'll run let's say you'll run a sweep to the left, 5th play of the game. And you see how do they run to the ball? Does the opposing other side defensive lineman, linebacker, do they contain the other side? Are they staying responsibility or are they just flying, right? Are they crashing down and they're not holding the responsibility? If they're not, you know what you're going to do later? Run the reverse. That's a lot of times what these guys do. They'll run a play in that first script to see how the defense reacts to set up other plays later in the game. That's the chess match. And some guys are great at it. And some guys are okay. And some guys, quite frankly, stink. But it's something we just never talk about enough when it comes to offensive coordinators. Because it's a thing. It's almost like back in the old days when managers really had control of managing a game.
Right.
In baseball. It's sort of like how you handle a pitching staff. There's a lot of instinctive feel to handling a pitching staff back in the day. Now, you just have an analytics guy give you a printout and your GM's in your ear and everybody's telling you what to do. But back then, you handled a pitching staff not just by stats, but a feel of game, instinctiveness. I think it's the same thing with calling plays. Some guys just have a great instinct for it. Kyle Shanahan, except for the Super Bowl, has a great instinct in calling plays. And I think Gary Kubiak, phenomenal play caller when he was in his many stops in the NFL as a coach. Some guys just have it, and I thought your boy Todd Monken was a genius at Georgia with his play calling and how he set you up and just embarrassed you. So that's a thing. So we're going to go over the script here in a little bit and just kind of look over the first 10 to 15 plays South Carolina ran on Saturday. Is there anything you can take from it? There might not be, but we'll take a look at it. Okay. All right, Dow Loggins, talking to the media, South Carolina struggled in the red zone, didn't score touchdowns except for the 2 turnovers where they were handed the ball inside the 10 and scored. But the offense driving down the field was not very successful in the red zone when they got there. Remember, one of the big series, your first real drive, Tyler, you roll it down the field, you get inside the Old Dominion 15, and on third down, Lennar Sellers gets sacked on that delayed blitz. So you kick a field goal. So here's Dow Loggins talking about red zone struggles. I'll be cut 3, my man.
Yeah, last year we were, I think, number 1 in the SEC in red area offense. I think our run game got a little leaky at times down there. I could have been more aggressive down there as well. And, you had a young quarterback in the red area, and hey, just don't put them in a bad spot until they're mature enough to handle those things. And so for the whole thing, it was a combination of a bunch of things. But the most important thing in the red area is go first down, second down, first down. When you get in these third and 8 on the 12, 3rd and 8 on the 23, you're going to settle for field goals right there. And obviously Alex came in and bailed us out on some of these field goals. But all of a sudden you score in the red area, and the feel of the game's a little bit different as well.
Yeah, touchdowns obviously are better than field goals, but field goals are better than nothing. But, you want to get the ball in the end zone. And Dow's right. When you're sitting in 3rd and long in the red zone, field's condensed. And that's when your guys have to beat their guys, right? I mean, that's where you're at when you're sitting at a 3rd and 8. I mean, your guys just got to be better. And you have to protect your quarterback. And you're sitting in you have a very small percentage of success when you're sitting at a 3rd and 8 at the opponent's 16-yard line, for an example.
Well, at that point, become one-dimensional because there's obviously a very, low percentage that you're going to try and run the ball there. So they're obviously going to key in on what you're doing at receiver and, try and lock it down, which, again, is in a shorter area of the field where there's not as many gaps in the defense.
Yeah, so Dow makes a good point. You want first down, second down, first down. You want to stay out of 3rd and longs. And, again, it was just a struggle in the red zone with the offense on Saturday. And part of that was you couldn't throw the ball. And even Dow said, maybe I should have been more aggressive. Yeah, you could have been. But I really think part of that game on Saturday, as we move farther away from it and get ready for Kentucky, is I really feel like as that game progressed, they knew their guy was struggling. And it almost felt like, look, how confident are we to put him in a position to throw it when he's not throwing it very well? And we know we can run it, and we know we can run the ball to more success than we can throw it. So how much of that altered the game plan we saw as the contest progressed forward? Could you have thrown it more a little bit earlier maybe and got him feeling good? Some easy throws? Yeah, I mean, Shane brought up, hey, Old Dominion takes those away from you. But, to Preston's point yesterday, you did have all off season to get ready for that defense. So I'm sure coaching staff is figuring what they could do better from last week. Obviously, players, everyone on the offensive side of the ball, because it's got to get better from the coaching staff down. Though, I mean, Dow admitted it. So we will see what the scheme ends up being this Saturday in Lexington against a team that plays some defense. They're good. Some years they're better than others, but Kentucky is never bad defensively, Tyler. That's one thing you can hang your hat on.
Mark Stoops is a defensive-minded head coach, so that's something that he's always going to have a pretty big say in, no matter who the defensive coordinator is. And, yeah, they always bring good defense to the table more often than not. It's the offense, particularly the quarterback spot, that's been a little bit of a question mark as of late. But based on what we saw on Saturday, a lot of reason to believe in Brock Vandagriff if you're up there in Lexington. But kind of similar to Lennar Sellers, he's still relatively unproven up to this point.
2 things you can count on with Kentucky. Trip to the Meineke Bowl, if it's even here anymore, and good defense. So we'll see what the offense does against the Wildcats on Saturday on the road at Kroger. All right. Firehouse sub text of the hour at 803-404-6100 is coming up. as we'll get your thoughts on either last Saturday still or the trip to Kentucky this Saturday. Folks on the old Twitter X poll, not feeling very confident. Half don't feel very good about a win out of 251 votes.
It's hard to argue with that.
All right, we will get our Firehouse Sub Text the hour next here on the Halftime Show. Terry Ford, Tyler Head, till 3 on the game.
From the Midlands to the PD to the beach.
The Game Network.
Hey, paying for streaming? One more thing you got to stream and pay for? Well, the Game app is, wait for it, free.
It's free! It's free! It's free!
Yes, all you got to do is go to iTunes or Google Play and download the 107.5 The Game app and listen for nothing in all respects of the word. Nothing.
This is Andrew Perloff with a Sports Minute. The Kansas City Chiefs begin their effort to become the first team to win 3 straight Super Bowls tonight. Think about the great teams that couldn't do it. Lombardi's Packers, Montana's Niners, Brady's Pats, the 90s Cowboys. History is daunting, but the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes. So to count them out would be a mistake. I'm Andrew Perloff.
Every business faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them.
With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise.
No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures.
It's just easy, cost-effective, and dependable shipping. Tune your business's frequency to success and turn shipping to your advantage. Learn how at USPS.com/advantage. USPS Ground Advantage. Simple, affordable, reliable.
Right now at Wendy's, you can get a small Frosty for $1. And literally everyone is going. The car behind you, going to get a $1 Frosty. The car ahead of you, already had one, going for a second. The person who cut you off earlier, you guessed it, $1 Frosty. Maybe it's all a sign for you to go get one. Just don't cut anyone off. No one likes that person. The iconic Frosty for $1, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Not valid in a combo. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, California, and via third-party delivery.
Hey guys, it's Preston Thorne for your broker, my broker, Benji Getzi at Buford Lending. Buford Lending is a true mortgage broker offering the widest variety of government mortgage programs and the best mortgage experience for clients through its state-of-the-art technology and record low interest rates. Their goal is to make your next mortgage experience at closing easier, cheaper, faster, and friendlier. Whatever you do, don't wait. Shop and lock your rate today with Buford Lending. Don't go to Wall Street. The rates are better on Bay Street. Online at Buford.mortgage.
Want to get lucky? It's your lucky day, Gamecocks, because Lucky's Pine Straw now offers mulch, in addition to our quality long-leaf pine straw. Hosting the big games watch party? Why not invite us over first? We'll help you get your yard ready for the big game. Give us a call at 803-360-4850 or stop by 3119 Sunset Boulevard in West Columbia. This season, score a touchdown with Lucky's. Luckies, Lucky's Pine Straw.
I'd rather ride a bike with my kids.
Faster! I'd rather play catch with my dog than catch pneumococcal pneumonia.
Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20 pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just 1 dose. If you are 19 or older with certain chronic conditions like heart disease or asthma, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I'd rather race for some ice cream. Let's go.
Schedule your vaccination today at Prevnar20.com.
The Halftime Show, sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina.
It's time for Text of the Hour on the Firehouse Subs text line on the Halftime Show.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence and the 107.5 The Game app.
Time to roll our Firehouse Sub text of the hour at 803-404-6100. What do you got there, Tyler?
Yeah, so KT writes in, D'Lo said they had a not-so-great week of practice, and Beamer said they had a good week of practice. I wonder who was honest. Dow needs to find some joy.
That's a great text. You know, again, Shane is a very glass-half-full guy. Glass full sometimes. You know, I think Dow, it feels like Dow is more, I don't think Dow has his joy glass probably isn't filled as high as Shane's.
Do you remember last year, I think the Florida game was before the bye week. Of course, that game ended up going sideways for South Carolina. No. It was the game before that was the bye week. I forget who they played, but they had the bye, I think, before Florida. So they had an entire week off. And then we obviously didn't hear from the coaches the week of the bye and all that kind of stuff. And that following Wednesday when Dow Loggins came in, he looked like he hadn't slept in 2 weeks. Like, he looked like he had done nothing but grinded tape that entire time they were off trying to figure out what had gone wrong in the game prior. Like, that's the kind of guy that he seems to be that really takes it personally when things don't go well on offense.
Yeah, and I think Dow is more. Look, it's great. I love the positivity that Shane Beamer has. It's fantastic. I really do. I like it. I think you have to be positive. You do. I think Dow is more. Put it this way: if they're sitting together, Shane's glass is one of those big pilsners, and it's like overflowing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dow's is more of a shot glass that's half full at times.
It was the Tennessee game before the bye last year. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And then Florida was after the bye.
Right. So I just think Dow, because again, look, Shane's been coaching his whole life. His dad obviously was a head coach. I mean, Shane, his whole life, his dad's been a head coach. Dow has coached in the NFL for a time. I feel like when you coach in the NFL, there's more realism in you. Mm-hmm. But it's just different. College and pro is just so different. You know, Shane's got that college, and whoa, okay, you know, this is great, wonderful, and we're this way and that way. You know, you take this and go that way, and it's all good. And Dow's more like, you know, the NFL is straight ahead. We got to get better, or that wasn't as good as we wanted to be, or this, that, and the other. I just feel like Dow is more. His glass of joy isn't as full.
Well, and I also wonder what it's like from his perspective now. There's a talent discrepancy in the games that you're coaching. Where in the NFL, everybody's an NFL player. Everybody is really, really good. And not to say that South Carolina doesn't have good players on offense, because they do, but sometimes you go into a game saying, okay, we're going to play Alabama later on this season. Well, guess what? Most of their guys on offense are better than all the guys guys on defense are better than all the guys you have on offense. How does that change your approach? How does that change the way you call a game? That's something that, as a longtime NFL play caller, he wasn't used to at that level.
Yeah, and you're right about, okay, now I'm scheming against a team whose talent is a lot better than our talent.
Right.
What do? You know, in the NFL, you'll run into that to a point, but not to the like you said, and you hit it perfect. The extremes are different in college football. Like, you play Bama, and you're going up against a bunch of dudes who are going to be in the NFL at some point. And maybe you got 3 or 4 NFL guys.
Right.
They've got 104. And now you're navigating that deal. Now in South Carolina right now, are there guys on the offense who could eventually play in the NFL? Sure there are. But are there playmakers like Xavier Legette right now? No. Is there a quarterback with the arm talent and experience of Spencer Rattler right now? No. I mean, do you have a running back that you do have a running back that I think will play in the league?
That is the sure thing you have on South Carolina's offense right now, is a good running back that, again, to a point, can make your offensive line look even better because he has the ability to break tackles and make plays on his own. If you didn't have that, if this running, and again, Oscar Attaway got a little bit of run on Saturday, but if it was just Attaway and Jawarn Howell and Matthew Fuller and DJ Braswell and all that kind of stuff, we wouldn't have nearly the competence in the running back room that we have right now with Rocket Sanders.
Now, again, Rocket Sanders averaged 3.67 yards after contact on Saturday. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, he made a cut. And we didn't talk about this, I don't think, on Monday. I was talking about it with Ryan Brewer. Because obviously Brewer played a few games at running back at South Carolina.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this play. Sanders, I think it was third down. Sanders takes the handoff. I believe it was the defensive end came crashing down and was ready to pounce on Sanders and hit him for a loss. And Sanders makes this quick jump cut to his right, and the defensive end hits air. And Sanders then made a couple other guys miss or broke a tackle and ended up, it was just like a 3 or 4 yard run. But I'm like, that's one of the most impressive 3 or 4 yard runs you're ever going to see.
Definitely.
Because he could have been hitting the line of scrimmage for a loss of 2 or 3, and then you're punting. And then he made a couple other guys miss and turned a -2 or 3 into a plus like 3 or 4. But that's what a really good back can do for you when all hell breaks loose. They can save you a few yards. And sometimes that few yards is the difference between not getting a first down and leaving the field and punting and putting your defense back on the field and getting a first down where at least you buy yourself 3 more plays. Or you keep a drive alive. So, yeah, you're seeing the difference of having a running back who, Rocket Sanders in some way, shape, or form, if he stays healthy, will play in the NFL. To what extent, I got no clue. But yeah. I think he will be. He's really, if you look at the skill positions, that's your NFL player. Josh Simon might hang out in the NFL because he does have some athletic ability from the tight end spot, and he might hang out on some teams. There are NFL people who like Tortorelli Simpkins, what his ceiling would be. And obviously Josiah Thompson's a youngin'. He's got a long way to go. But you don't see a Xavier Legette and a Spencer Rattler right now.
No,
you just don't.
Or at least they haven't, proven themselves to this point. Not to say that Sellers can't be that guy, but we haven't seen it yet.
Right. He could be. He could be, as a college quarterback, even better than Rattler down the road. Who knows? Because he's a dual threat guy. But right now, he's a young quarterback going into his second start. You'd obviously rather have Spencer Rattler right now. You'd love to have Xavier Legette or someone like him run around at the wide receiver spot. You don't have it. Well, the game last year against Kentucky, who are the 2 guys who were very important in winning that football game?
Spencer Rattler and Xavier Legette.
Who's not going to be on the field Saturday?
Spencer Rattler and Xavier Legette.
What's that, Rick Pitino? Spencer Rattler, Xavier Legette aren't going to walk through that door.
No, they're not.
So we'll see how it goes. But offensively, you don't have those dudes at this point. Hopefully, some dudes pop up Saturday against Kentucky. That's the hope. All right, 1 o'clock hours, football here on the Halftime Show. Sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors. Terry Ford and Tyler Head. Coming up, we'll switch over to the defensive side of the ball. Clayton White. White talking about the 2 busted coverages. Or the 2 busted plays, I should say. One a busted coverage and one a busted play that led to touchdowns. That's coming up.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20,000 off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Hunting season is here, and that means it's ATV season at Carolina Honda Powerhouse. Honda Recons, Renters, Foremans, and Rubicons are in stock and ready to ride. 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, manual, automatic, and all new colors. We've got them, and you can shop them all right on our showroom floor. Don't forget to ask about current finance and service specials. Visit Carolina Honda Powerhouse in Columbia. Just take exit 70 off I-20 and turn by the Flying J, or visit CarolinaHonda.com. Honda recommends utility ATVs for riders 16 years and older and recommends that all riders take a training course.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing. And for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV.
Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality.
The Game TV.
Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass.
Hey there. Gerber Life would like to talk to you about the importance of guaranteed life insurance for when you...
No, thank you.
I get it. Nobody likes to think about life insurance because it means having to think about the end of... So I'll make this short and sweet. If you're 50 plus or 50 to 75 in New York, you can apply for Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance with guaranteed acceptance regardless of your health. Guaranteed acceptance means you don't need a medical exam. In fact, you don't even have to fill out a health questionnaire. For a free quote, just visit GerberLifeFamily.com. Then, when that thing you don't want to think about does eventually happen, and you know it will,
I'm not listening.
your family can use the insurance money to help cover the cost of your final expenses, or anything else. Now that's worth thinking about. Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance. For a free quote, visit GerberLifeFamily.com today. See website for terms and restrictions.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevy, where the winning is only beginning. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
For appliances with Reliances, that's Jeffers McGill.
Come see the entire line of Whirlpool appliances at 1421 Atlas Road. Whirlpool offers bigger, better, and more efficient appliances. And Jeffers McGill offers the best in customer service and low prices. Jeffers McGill and Whirlpool, your home team.
For appliances with Reliances, that's Jeffers McGill.
It's that time of year where fall is upon us and football is back, and there's no better place to catch all of the action than at Steel Hands Brewing. Steel Hands Brewing is your destination brewery for any and all music and events, including their annual Oktoberfest coming up Friday, October 4th. Activities include authentic German music, contests, and a delicious menu of Oktoberfest-themed delights, plus the launch of their fest beer. There's something for everyone at Steel Hands Brewing, hand-forged right here in Casey.
WNKT FM Eastover, Columbia.
Congrats to the Gamecocks women on another national championship.
A Cumulus media station.
The Halftime Show, sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina.
Not feeling like yourself? Call the Men's Clinic at 803-875-MENS.
It's 1 o'clock. That means football. Football. And more football on the Halftime Show.
Is sponsored by Atlantic Window and Door. Go to awdsc.com.
On the Game Network and the 107.5 The Game app.
Halftime show with Terry Ford and Tyler Head. We kick football in the 1 o'clock hour here on the Game. And we appreciate you hanging out in Columbia, Florence, Myrtle Beach. Thank you very much. In Lexington, South Carolina, on Saturday, Gamecocks game day. We will be at our home away from home at O'Hara's Public House doing the pregame. Tyler and I, 10:30 to 12:30. Then we'll have a viewing party starting at 3:30. We'll be giving away a pair of South Carolina football season tickets for the rest of the year on Saturday. Come on out, watch the game, register. Just hang out. Food's fantastic. Many beverage options.
That's right.
At O'Hara's, Tyler sampled them all last year. A little embarrassing at times.
We're going to be looking to have a better record than last year on our viewing party days.
Didn't go well last year, did it?
We got to be 1-0.
That's right. That's all that matters. So we will be there for the viewing party starting at 3:30. Again, you come in, you register for Gamecock season tickets for the rest of the home slate. Just sit down, watch the game, eat something, drink something, and enjoy yourself, and hopefully we'll have a W to celebrate. We'll give away other individual pairs of game tickets also while we're at O'Hara's. So again, that's O'Hara's. Pre-games 10:30 to 12:30. Viewing party starts at 3:30 where you can win Gamecock football season tickets for the rest of 2024. Again, come out and hang out with us. Main Street in Lexington at O'Hara's. Very cool place to hang. All right, so Clayton White also talking to the media yesterday. Defensively, you had 2 oops, right? And the rest of it was pretty suffocating. Now, again, Kentucky brings a team with more weapons, and it should be a better offense than Old Dominion, but still, you had to feel good the way that the defense got after the quarterback, especially, obviously, Kyle Kennard, Dylan Stewart. O'Donnell Fortune played well. Jalen Kilgore, I thought the linebackers much better than last year. Interior defensive line kind of does what they do. All around, much better performance. Yes, there was a busted coverage. DQ Smith got okey-doked at the end. Then your guys didn't stay in their pass rush lanes on a 4th and 7. Grant Wilson ran 37 yards for a touchdown. Besides those two plays, Old Dominion didn't do much on offense. Here's Clayton White, though, talking about those two big miscues that led to 14 Old Dominion points.
Yeah, two plays that, if you keep saying the ifs and all that stuff, ifs and buts, all that stuff, I wish, all those things. But, yeah, it was two mistakes that's inexcusable. And, me as the coordinator, I gotta do a better job of making sure those things don't happen by repping them and putting our guys in position, because obviously the game could have went either way. I mean, you guys were there, I hope. The game can be either way, right? So it could have went either way, and those mistakes would have been part of the loss. But now we have to live and learn from them, and obviously the first one was we weren't ready to play. And like I said, I got to find a way to make sure I get that call in, no matter how fast they're going. And then the second one was just a mistake, and obviously we can get him down for 25. You don't like guys running through the middle of your defense for a 36-yard touchdown, but they happened game 1. Let's make sure we knock them out game 2 through whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the communication thing. When you hear coordinators talk, a lot of times when teams get big plays, it's because there was a busted coverage, a miscommunication. We talked about it yesterday. Two DBs looking at each other in the end zone with their hands in the air, going, "I thought you had him." Well, I thought you had him. We were playing zone, right? No, we're playing man. And while that's going on, that dude's dancing in the end zone.
Right.
And so doing the Dougie, whatever. I like a creative end zone celebration.
Well, I like it from the standpoint of I know I can never do it myself. So
yeah, I can't either. I like when a team comes up with a thing and they come do it in the end zone. I think it's creative and I love it. I mean, a dude scores and he dances. That's fine. Go get him, man. That's fine. You're enjoying your moment. But I love the team choreographed celebrations. I think they're massively cool.
Yeah.
I love the fact the NFL has finally got out of being the no fun league and letting these guys have some fun in the end zone.
Yeah, it took them long enough.
Oh, God, didn't it? Yeah, in college, it's college kids, but some of that stuff, some of the penalties called on that. Again, if you run up to the guy you just beat for a touchdown and give him the old suck it sign from Degeneration X, you deserve a penalty.
Yeah.
But if you and your boys, you and your crew are celebrating in the end zone after you score a touchdown, which, by the way, the other guys are doing everything to stop you from doing, you should be able to have a little fun.
I think so.
That's just me.
I agree.
That's just me. But anyway, so Clayton White talked about those two miscues that led to 14 points. The other one was you just don't stay in your rush lanes. That's kind of what that was, basically, it's 4th and 7. You've been getting after the quarterback all game. Basically you're up 16-7. You're pinning your ears back, right? Everybody wants to eat at the quarterback. And guys got a little out of their lane going after Grant Wilson, and he made them pay. You got to stay in you got to have lane responsibility in the pass rush. And there was nobody on the second level behind him, and I don't know if everybody was just in man running with receivers and the middle of the field was just wide open. And then, unfortunately, DQ Smith, who had a rough day, missed the tackle inside the 5, and Wilson scores a touchdown. But I think those are correctable. I mean, busted coverage is just communication. Everybody's got to know what they're doing.
It was the third or fourth offensive play of the game, or defensive play of the game.
Man, wasn't it sad? Because that place, Williams-Brice was geeking, right?
Well, I mean, it couldn't have been a more perfect start. We thought, okay, this is going to be a 70-0 route if it continues to go like this. And then, they take the air out of it. The second play of that drive?
It's that deep ball. And, we're sitting there in the press box, and you get to see, it's like the All-22 film. You see the whole field, and you see Page just split the safeties, and you just see Page, and you don't see any safeties, and you're watching it going, oh. That's not good.
Yeah, there's a lot of plays that we can kind of see before it's, completed what's going to happen. And as that ball's flying in the air and you see there's nobody within, 10 miles of them, that it's probably going to be pretty bad.
Well, you're sitting there going, hopefully Wilson threw this thing into the seats. Hopefully it's way underthrown. Hopefully it's inaccurate, because right now there's not a Gamecock in the picture, man.
Right.
And again, to Wilson's credit, it was a good enough throw to complete it to Page, and then Page went down and scored the touchdown. So that, I think you can clean up with just communication. The flip side also, it's just, it's a fundamental thing. Stay in your little pass rush lane, especially on that 4th and 7 where you've been getting a lot of heat with 4. Just stay in your lane and rush, and the way your edges are getting to the quarterback, if you stay in that lane, they might flush Wilson right to you, and they did flush him because he went right up the middle. If you stay in your lane, I'm not going to say it's definitely a sack, but you should be able to get hands upon Wilson to where he's not going to get a first down and sure not going to score a touchdown. So it's two things that are correctable. It's not the end of the world. You did win the game. Always got to remind people. But you can't have those become consistent things, because then you got trouble.
Yes.
So there's Clayton White. Also, here's Clayton. We talked about this play on Monday, saying this might have been the biggest play in the game no one talks about, and that was the O'Donnell Fortune interception. Remember, Lennar Sellers had just fumbled. It was returned deep inside Carolina territory. Big thumbs up. Nick Harbor hustling, making the play, so the DB doesn't scoop the fumble and score. Old Dominion has the ball. Wilson kind of fades off to his left a little bit. Our boy Vines, Deontay Vines, a transfer from, where they don't throw the ball, Iowa, he beat Nick Emmanwori by 2 steps. That was most likely a touchdown when Wilson let it go. O'Donnell Fortune came off his man, huge interception, and here is Clayton White discussing that play by O'Donnell Fortune.
Yep. So, turnovers, one of our main themes on this defense is called put the ball down, PTBD. Whenever I'm doing my opening statements to the football team, I say, we don't care where the ball's put down. If it's on the 1, the 25, the 50, the 25, the plus 10 going in, we want to put the ball down. We want to go put fires out. We like firefighters. You never know when the alarm bell's going to ring. You have to slide down the pole and go get it. So I was proud of just the poise from the sideline. We all came together, say, all right, calm down. Obviously, there's frustration, but we got to put the ball down, put fires out. That's what we do. But I was very proud of OD. It's one of those things where when you end the football game changes from the 12-yard line in the end for us on defense, and the ball was on the 10, I think. And, that happens. What he did happens once every fall camp, once every spring. You'll normally say don't fall off on that because they're in the red zone. But they ran the route kind of low. Nick Emmanwori did a great job of playing tight coverage on the guy to make the guy cut the 7 cut short. So that gave OD a chance, because obviously in the red zone they can't run a 25-yard route. So I thought Nick did a great job as well of slicing that guy, as we call it, so OD can fall off. Quarterback threw it low.
Yeah, Fortune, whether it was just Fortune seeing the eyes of Wilson or Fortune saw something in studying film, whatever, O'Donnell Fortune made an instinctive play to come off the receiver. And it was the right play, because that thing looked like it could have been a touchdown. So nice work by O'Donnell Fortune. That was a huge, gigantic play in the football game.
Well, the turnovers in general were what really kept South Carolina from losing this game, because the 2 fumbles that I've set them up in plus territory, there to be able to punch in those touchdowns, and then the interception there that saved touchdown, then obviously the one that, ended up sealing the game with Jelon Kilgore at the very end. As we know, the mark of a Clayton White defense is one that generates a lot of takeaways. Saw that on Saturday, and that's going to be a big key factor against Kentucky, because you've owned the turnover battle these past couple of years when you've taken the past two wins from them. And if you're going to win on Saturday, you're probably going to have to steal a couple possessions as well.
And that's the thing. It's like you're probably going to have to get a turnover or 2. Because remember, last year turnovers were big in the win over Kentucky.
Yep.
And I think the year before that in Lexington, you got some big play turnovers early in that game. So you're going to get a turnover or two to beat the Wildcats. But what I really liked about this defense on Saturday, getting to the quarterback was fun to watch and forcing the turnovers. But they also played well when they weren't forcing turnovers. They were consistently stopping Old Dominion to where they weren't getting 3rd and 1s and 2nd and 2s and, moving the chains and sustaining drives. And they had a couple of drives to kick field goals. But they had 2 big plays for the touchdowns. And then they only kicked 2 field goals. They didn't sustain a drive against South Carolina. They ended up in the end zone. So remember what happened last year, Tyler. They weren't forcing turnovers. And because they were just getting worked up and down the field.
Yep.
That didn't happen Saturday. So that's a good thing because you can't live and die expecting to get turnovers every week. At some point, you got to line up and just stop people. And then South Carolina lined up on Saturday and stopped Old Dominion. But you are going to probably need to force a turnover or 2 against Kentucky. Coming up, we'll continue our little parade through the coordinators. We'll get back to Dow Loggins. Interesting answer to the question of self-evaluation with Dow. We'll hear what Dow Loggins has to say about Dow Loggins. That's coming up on the halftime show. 3 o'clock today, we'll be hanging around Piney Grove Road at the Hardee's. We're starting a new campaign. It's called Roundup, the Hardee's Roundup. We're teaming up with Hardee's. We will be out on Piney Grove. If you go to Hardee's and let's say your bill's like $6.17 and you round it up, then that money on the roundup goes to Harvest Hope to feed kids. So that's going on. You're participating Hardee's. We'll be at Piney Grove today from 3 to 6. Stop in, say hi, grab some Hardee's, and round that baby up. It is the halftime show with Terry Ford and Tyler Head coming back. Dow Loggins talking about Dow Loggins. Next, it's football in the 1 o'clock hour, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors on The Game.
107.5 The Game.
In Columbia.
100.5 The Game.
In Florence.
100.3 The Game.
In Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
It's back! The Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Contest. Just go to 1075thegame.com and register. The pot starts at $100. Every week it increases $100 if Carolina doesn't score a special teams touchdown. But if the Gamecocks do score a special teams touchdown, you could win the pool. Again, just go to 1075thegame.com and register. It's the Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Contest from 1075 The Game.
1075 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20,000 off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
The children's music and dance teacher who couldn't cha-cha.
I was always on my feet. It was just so painful.
Elisa couldn't let her students down, so she stepped up and went to the Good Feet store for personally fitted arch supports.
I would work an entire day, and my feet didn't hurt at the end of the day. That was when I knew, wow, these are different.
But the really good part?
It's good to be dancing together again.
Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
The Good Feet store. Call 1-800-NEW-FEET or visit goodfeet.com.
Bill Gunner for my great friends Rock and Daniel Lucas at Charwood Golf Club. Hey, the fall, better weather, exciting days are right ahead of us, and getting out to Charwood Golf Club is something my son Austin and I love doing because it's a relaxed, fun environment where you can go out, play music, enjoy an afternoon outdoors, and enjoy the excellent layout that is Charwood Golf Club. Line up your tee time today. 803-755-2000. Again, that's 803-755-2000. Call Charwood Golf Club today.
Falafel King is the sweet deal of the week. Get a $50 gift certificate for just $25. Visit 1075thegame.com beginning this Friday at 9 a.m. to get your $50 gift certificate to Falafel King for just $25.
Hi, Jen here. Did you know you could earn up to 4.59% annual percentage yield with All South Federal Credit Union's premium checking account? That's 30 times more than the national average interest checking rate, which means more money in your bank account each month. Plus, they have 23 locations right here in the Midlands. Open an account online at allsouth.org or visit an All South location today to start earning more. All South is federally insured by the NCUA.
Hey, pet parents. With Progressive's collision coverage, you get extra protection for your cat or dog because there's nothing worse than seeing your pet hurt. Like when you see their face after accidentally stepping on their tail, and you say, "I'm so sorry, Mr. Pickles." But as you kiss his nose and rub his little belly welly, you know Mr. Pickles is thinking, "You betrayed me." Anywho, Progressive pays up to $1,000 in vet bills if your pet is injured in an auto accident. Learn more at Progressive.com and watch where you step. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Collision coverage subject to policy terms. Not available in all states.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel will help you start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks. Words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks, "How's your French going?" you can say,
Babbel facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue.
Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Honey, would you take a seat? I have a confession to make.
What is it? What's wrong?
Well, I was out driving today and I saw some hookers on the side of the road. A bunch of huge, professional, beautiful-looking hookers. So I did what I was supposed to do. I slowed down and I moved over.
You slowed down for the hookers?
Well, yeah, it's the law. There was a whole fleet of Schroeder's towing trucks assisting with an accident. Wait, what did you think I was talking about?
Schroeder's Towing reminds you to slow down and move over for all first responders.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Got something to say?
Ring us up on the Love Chevy phone line
at 803-404-6100. 107.5 The Game in Columbia. 100.5 The Game in Florence. 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
The Halftime Show, sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina, on your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence. And the 107.5 The Game app.
All right, halftime show as we go football in the 1 o'clock hour, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors here on The Game. Terry Ford, Tyler Head, glad you could be hanging. All right, in a minute, Tyler, I'll give you a second to think about it. Vegas Insider did this. They ranked the top 10 tailgate foods.
Okay.
I'll give you a shot and see what you can get. Best to worst.
All right.
Think about it.
Okay.
Run it through your head.
All right.
Right now, though, we'll get Dow Loggins from yesterday. First of all, Dow Loggins was evaluating Dow Loggins. Cut 4, hit it.
Everything goes back to the week. You look at why your players don't execute a scheme, or what did you say to them? Did you show them enough looks? Did they get enough reps of those things? Like, you self-scout everything, and when you don't play the way that you want to play, you don't execute the way you want to execute. It goes back to, as a coach, you have to look at yourself first, and you would say, hey, if it's the old saying of the teachers, like, hey, student fails, teacher fails. So we look at everything, and I go back and look at all that stuff to make sure, like, hey, did we give Lenoris the right looks? Did we give him the hardest stuff at practice so when it shows up at games he's prepared for? We look at everything.
And a lot of good coaches, they self-evaluate themselves, because it always comes back to this. It's like, if you're in charge of something and the people that work with you that you kind of put out there to do a job, if they fail, your first thought is, okay, what did I do for them to fail? Did I not set them up to succeed? Did I not correctly instruct them? What did I do wrong? I got to do better. And I think that's what Dow Loggins is talking about. You got to go back and say, okay, what did we have Lenoris Sellers do? Game plan-wise, it didn't work. What did we have him do in-game that didn't work? What could we have done to adjust to help him? Blah, 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 blah. Because that's really what you got to do. He said one start. So I think that's one of the things you do take a look at. Also, real quick, Tyler, let's get the adjustment one here, cut 9, about adjustments versus Old Dominion.
Yeah, that's the advantage of having a great staff is, like, when things are happening, you got a lot of experience, you know, Shula, Sean Elliott, Blackwell, Lonnie, like, there's constant communication of, like, hey, let's get to this, like, hey, these guys, we're seeing this well, let's handle this, let's do this. So the communication in between series is, like, you go in, game plans are great until the first bullet's fired, you know, and then all of a sudden it's like, all right, let's settle these kids down because we're really young, and hey, we're doing this well, let's lean on this more. And so it was more of communication with the staff going as I was really pleased with that aspect of it because they offer a lot of value because we have a lot of experience and guys have seen things. So definitely you shift and you adjust a little bit. The understanding and also how the game was flowing, like how it was going to go down. Like there was never a panic, and I think that happens when you've got an older, more mature staff that it's like, hey, we need to finish this thing out. We need to put a drive together. We were able to play complementary football when the defense got the turnovers. We were able to punch in the end zone, which helped, and the defense did a great job getting those things. But so we did adjust in some areas for sure, adjusted some of the runs out as the game went. And, adjustments become a little bit more difficult when you have youth and you got younger players that last year you could draw something up in the dirt and it's like, hey, we're good. Spence Leggett they've played a lot of football. Those things. This year it's a little bit different because you got a bunch of guys playing together and we're not gelled and we're not at that point yet. So it's a process.
So, I mean, it's different from year to year. And, the whole thing of being young, yeah, you're young at quarterback and you're young at left tackle. But everything else, it's not so much youth, it's guys who haven't played in the SEC or guys who haven't played together, right? I mean, that's really what you have.
It's a lack of cohesion. And going back to, what he said about having to adjust, I imagine there was probably a certain level of expectation, especially when it came to the passing game, of what those guys had shown you in practice or what those guys had shown you in scrimmages, to where you thought they were going to be in that game. And again, we knew it wasn't perfect because they had said nobody really separated themselves, but then when you actually get in and playing the game, it's like, oh, Sellers is missing throws. These guys are dropping passes left and right. You probably have to adjust from there because it probably wasn't what you thought it was going to be as far as being able to rely on the pass game, which maybe in turn why they ended up running the ball more than they did.
Yeah, and if you look at SEC StatCats, their numbers, they had South Carolina with 4 drops. I remember, obviously, you had the Brady Hunt drop and you had the Jared Brown drop. And the Brown, it wasn't like an easy catch. It's like an over-the-shoulder Willie Mays looking catch. You're kind of running, you're adjusting and turning, but it hits you in the hands. You got to catch the ball, hit you in the hands. But it wasn't an easy catch.
Would the Harbor, where he couldn't get his toes down, would that count as a drop?
No. And on that play, again, it's one of those things where, could the throw have been better? Absolutely. But again, you see the rawness of Nick Harbor with his footwork on the sideline, right?
Right.
A wide receiver with more experience at the position tiptoes. Nick just came down flat, landed right out of bounds. That's not a criticism. It's just a guy who's learning to play the position. That's all. But he did make a nice catch.
Yeah, it was a good catch.
Just couldn't get his feet in.
Not quite enough.
Or couldn't get a foot in. The 4 drops, one, they gave Jacobs a drop. Also, Simon picked up a drop, as did Jared Brown and Brady Hunt. And as my memory serves me, all 4 are where you would go back and look at it and go, yeah, okay, ball hit him with the hands, you got to pull those in. So, again, to what you just said, Sellers wasn't accurate, and then the receivers weren't helping him out. They were dropping some balls. So, when you look at where this was going and the adjustments you had to make, how much adjusting could you make? And did you make adjustments that just didn't work out because the execution didn't happen? That's stuff that, you got to look at in the big picture of this, right? All right, it's football in the 1 o'clock hour, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors. And part of football is eating before the game.
That's right.
Tailgating's big. It's huge, whether it's at your house, it's in the tailgate lot, wherever you're at. Vegas Insider, top 10 tailgate food items. What you got for number 1?
Hot wings.
Number 4.
Number 4.
Try it again.
Imagine burgers got to be somewhere up there.
Yes. Sliders are looked at as number 1.
Okay.
Sliders are number 1.
Obviously hot dogs.
last.
Really?
10th.
10th.
Hot dogs were 10th.
Like actual barbecue, like ribs or something?
No, I didn't make the list. I'll be honest with you. I was like you. I probably would have gone with wings first or a burger. Sliders are 1. Number 2, nachos.
Nachos seem like such a messy tailgate
I was going to say, it's a
food.
sloppy tailgate food, especially after how many brews?
Yeah, I don't know if that's my go-to.
I would never do nachos on a tailgate.
I feel like you stick to the handheld foods that are a little more compact.
Here's another one, meatballs. I didn't think about that.
Who's eating meatballs at a tailgate?
That came in at number 3. I've never had meatballs at a tailgate. Trying to be honest. Never done meatball. Maybe my tailgates aren't that advanced.
Maybe.
We had hamburgers and hot dogs typically and wings.
Pretty simple. What else is on there?
Pizza's number 5. I mean, I can see pizza, I guess. I've never done pizza at a tailgate.
But I mean, what are you ordering the pizza and they bring it to you?
Or you
cooking
bringing it
on
with
a
you?
Blackstone? How are you doing that?
Uber Eats.
Maybe.
Number 6 is chips and dip.
Okay.
Yeah. Pretzels. Yeah.
Sure.
Potato skins.
Yeah.
I like that idea. Popcorn. I've never done popcorn at a tailgate. Have you?
Who made this list?
I don't. Vegas Insider. And number 10 is hot dogs.
No tailgate I've ever been to.
Maybe 4 of those I've had at tailgate. Anyway, that's Vegas Insider. All right. Football in the 1 o'clock hour. Sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors. Let's spin into the SEC a little bit. Obviously, our boy Billy Napier at Florida, he backtracked a little bit. We'll get to that. And also, Urban Meyer has interesting comments on the pressure that you take on when you're the head coach at Florida. So we got that coming up next as we'll go to the SEC a little bit on football in the 1 o'clock hour, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors. Terry Ford and Tyler Head, we go till 3 on the game.
The Game Network in Columbia.
107.5 The Game.
In Florence.
100.5 The Game.
In Myrtle Beach.
100.3 The Game.
Sips and Sounds, the only craft beer, wine, and spirits tasting event held indoors under the cool AC. No rain, no heat, no worries. Unlimited sampling of over 40 brands of local and national craft beers, wine, seltzers, and spirits. Live performances by Ken and Drew of Sister Hazel, Dazer, and the Donovan Twins.
Saturday, September 28th. Get your unlimited tasting wristbands now at sipsandsoundscola.com.
Train heating and cooling systems are tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent Train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
Call the experts at Zerorez Air Duct Cleaning and mention me, Bill Gunner, and 107.5 The Game to get $50 off your next air duct cleaning service. Use code AIR50 at ZerorezColumbia.com. Zerorez is the right way to clean.
Nachos! Get your nachos!
Hey, I'll take some.
Great. And some Frank's Red Hot.
Oh, nah, I'm good.
Oh, you're just gonna eat these dry, plain, boring nachos with no Franks? Seriously? Frank it up. Frank it up. Come on, lady. Frank it up. Frank it up. Frank it up. Yeah! Yeah, this guy finally gets it. Hey, look, we're on the Jumbotron.
It's the perfect blend of flavor and heat. Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything.
The Gamecock Go Pass is back. For only $20 a month, you'll receive access to all non-conference football games, most men's and women's basketball and baseball games, and all softball, soccer, and volleyball games. To learn more about the Gamecock Go Pass, visit thegamecockclub.com/go.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9318. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9318. That's 800-575-9318. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Get ready to smile because Herndon Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy dealer, is offering an amazing deal right now. Get up to $20,000 off new Silverados. Yes, you heard that right. Up to $20,000 off. Don't wait. Head over to HerndonChevy.com today and drive home in the truck of your dreams. Chevy, together let's drive.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile.
Call 803-510-5447 for complete details.
Healthy Connections Medicaid members, did you know you need to renew your Medicaid coverage each year? You can complete your annual Medicaid eligibility review or check your status online at apply.scdhhs.gov. Healthy Connections Medicaid members can now create an ID.me account to easily stay up to date and report household changes. Visit apply.scdhhs.gov to learn more. And remember, submit your review when it's time to renew. This message is from Healthy Connections Medicaid and paid for by DPH.
Hey guys, Jay Phillips here from my good friends at Integrated Media, Columbia's leader in today's technology for your home and business. They've got TVs from Sony and Samsung, surround sound systems from Dolby, Sonos wireless speakers, Wi-Fi that works everywhere, even cameras to see what's going on around your home. They've got you covered. Call Integrated Media at 803-948-8327. Set up a time for them to come out to your house and talk with you about your wants and your needs. You want to cut the cord? They can help. Want one of those beautiful Samsung frame TVs that looks like art when it's not turned on? They do that too. Plus fantastic outdoor systems that let you enjoy your favorite team, movie, TV show, or music while you also enjoy our beautiful South Carolina weather. You can even stop in and see them at the Experience Center, 105 Snapdragon Court and Chapin, and get a real idea of what these things look like in your home. Do what I've done, and many of your friends and neighbors. Call 803-948-8327 and get home theater like never before from Integrated Media.
What you're talking about.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet
on the Game Network.
We're talking football in the 1 o'clock hour, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors with Terry Ford and Tyler Head on the game. Thanks for hanging with us, whether you're in Columbia, Florence, and Myrtle Beach. Don't forget today at 3, we're going to be hanging out at the Hardee's, 496 Piney Grove Road. Round up your bill at Hardee's to the nearest dollar, and the proceeds will go to the Harvest Hope Food Bank for students. It's called the Hardee's Roundup. We're hooking up with Hardee's for that to help feed the kids in the Midlands. All right, and like I said, we'll be there 3 to 6, just hanging out. I think Jeannie and I are going to play cornhole. Played 3 games the last time we were at Hardee's.
I heard she's pretty good.
Yeah. I got her 2 out of 3. I was cheating like a maniac. Don't tell anybody. I was cheating like nobody's business.
How do you cheat in cornhole?
I can't tell you. Then it gets out. I keep my advantage, my cornhole advantage.
Fair.
It's one of those things. And I never played a ton of cornhole. I'm not going to lie to you. I just never really have. But I'm guessing, cornhole after 4 or 5 beers, much different than cornhole sober at Hardee's.
Well, after a couple, there's multiple holes on the board.
Yeah, you see a lot more holes in. 60 holes in this thing. But you know what cornhole was to me? When I was a kid, they had this thing called tic-tac-toe.
Okay.
There's a tic-tac-toe thing. You put it out in the yard and you threw beanbags at it.
All right.
To flip it to, like, let's say you had X's and you're hitting it to try to get it to X's.
Yeah.
So cornhole is just like playing tic-tac-toe. I'm just throwing the beanbag to a big hole.
Okay.
But I never really played a lot of. I've never been big on the tailgate party games.
Mm-hmm.
Tailgating is the purpose of eating and drinking. That was it for me. I was like the whole party thing.
What is that? The one where you have the 2 balls on the string, a little ladder thing.
Yeah.
There's that too.
Yeah, there's that. I was never.
I never understood that.
Yeah,
one.
Never really. I mean, I don't mind throwing a football a little bit.
Sure.
You sit there and throw a football or something, but the idea of playing some kind of a tailgate game, I'm like,
Yeah.
So I go to family reunions when I was a kid.
Yeah.
In North Carolina, up in the mountains, they play horseshoes.
Okay.
The old dogs were big on horseshoes.
All right.
Played that a little bit, but again, just. I'm telling you what, my uncles, they were ready to throw down.
Well,
horseshoes got intense, man.
Gets competitive.
And by the way, that horseshoe could be used as a weapon.
Things are heavy.
Yes. So anyway, all right. Billy Napier decided to backtrack a little bit.
Shocking.
To no one. That Billy Napier, obviously, and do we have the cut from the other day?
1 second.
Take a second and pull that up. Billy Napier, a little frustrated, obviously, with, getting, basically smacked up and down the field in his own house by Miami in the opener on Saturday, knowing he's on a hot seat. Oh, forget it, hot office. So Billy Napier coming off a very bad performance. The Gators broke with a 34-game home opener win streak or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
So Napier, a little annoyed with things in general, which you would understand. But again, you got whooped. So here's Billy Napier talking about some of the fan base and their comments.
We got to go to work on the football part, and I think we got to become a more consistent team, and we have to execute better. And if we can focus on those things and not necessarily what some guy in his basement saying in rural Central Florida on social media, then we got a chance to get better, right? So,
yeah, okay, you got dismantled at home. You're on the hot seat anyway. You got a losing record as you're starting your third season. Probably not a good idea to be worrying about what some dude in his basement in Central Florida is putting on social media about you.
Well, and, you're already not seen favorably in the eyes of the fan base. I wouldn't aggravate the rest of them.
It's a great idea when people are really, really like that mob mentality of a fan base once you fired. You know what's a really good idea?
Poke them a little bit.
Smack them.
Yeah.
Great idea. And the other thing is, again, when you bring that up, you're telling me, A, your players are looking at it and your players are reacting to it, or it's a thing with your players. And the other one is you're actually paying attention to it. It's one of the two or both. But why would you bring it up? Because remember, he said we gotta concentrate on getting better every day and not what Jimmy Joe Billy Bob's saying in his basement in rural Central Florida.
Because he's clearly paying attention to it.
So he's paying attention to it. Maybe his players are paying attention to it. Look, the noise is there. You got to navigate the noise. So Billy Napier said that, and then Billy Napier backtracked. Was that yesterday?
Yes. He issued his apology.
Mm-hmm. Do we have that?
Not as a clip. It was not in audio form.
Yeah, I know Billy basically apologized, which he was probably told to do by someone.
Of course.
Whether his agent, some people in his inner circle, the administration, someone pulled Billy aside and said, hey, bub, might want to drop a little apology there on this. Because what Billy Napier, his real feelings is what he said originally.
Oh, totally.
Not the apology is what you got to do now. But what you said, you meant. You ever been mad or frustrated and said something to someone? Guess what?
Sure.
You meant it. At the time.
This is per Nick De La Torre of Gators Online. Said Napier says, I want to make it very clear that was not my intention here. I think ultimately, and there was no reference to our fans. I was just talking specifically about life in general. I think our young people live in an era where social media is a part of their lives, and I think it is critical if we listen too much to the wrong voice, no matter what it is in life.
To me, that tells me, A, he was told to apologize. B, his players are totally into what's going on in social media about how bad this football team is and how the coach needs to be fired.
Yeah.
They're totally paying attention because he wouldn't bring it up twice now if that wasn't a thing. And again, that's part of your leadership as a coach and coaching staff and part of the culture you set where you can't let your players fall into that stuff. It's there. It's not going anywhere. And these dudes see it. Everybody sees it. They live on that stuff. Most of them. So obviously that's a thing in Florida. Urban Meyer reacting to what's going on with Billy Napier at his old stomping grounds in Gainesville. Here's Urban Meyer talking about the pressure of being the head coach of the Florida Gator football team.
Gainesville's it's a tough job. I mean, it's a great job. It's one of the top 5 jobs in the country. You got everything you need. You got recruiting base that's second to none, and you got a great stadium, you got a great fan base, you got a great student body, you got it all. But I'll tell you what, Gainesville is a tough town to live in when you're the coach at Florida. It really is. And I love Gainesville. It was great. My wife really loved it, but I never really left the house because it feels like it's caving in on you. It's a small town, and there's very strong opinions there. It's a great place, but it's a very tough place to be when you don't end up on the right side of the win column.
And this is the guy that was successful.
Yeah, 2 national championships.
This is the guy whose ego is so big it's got its own house.
Mm-hmm.
And listen to him talking about the pressure of coaching that football program. I say it all the time. You got to be a special kind of cat to take that job and be successful in it, because the pressure is real. And you hear it from the guy who was successful at navigating it. His way to do it was don't leave the house.
Right.
So that's what you're dealing with when you're the head coach at Florida. That's why you got to go find a guy not only can crush it as the head coach, but deal with all of that crazy around that program. All the meddling, all the voices, all like you say, going to the grocery store, right? And being Urban Meyer at the grocery store. Do you think they knew who Billy Napier is at the grocery store at Publix in Gainesville?
I'm probably sure they're pretty aware.
Now they are.
Like I said, he comes from Louisiana before this, and he could have walked around Lafayette with a sign around his neck that says, "I'm Billy Napier," and half the people wouldn't have cared.
Right.
But now you're essentially the mayor of Gainesville at this point. Like, you are the figurehead for that university and that city. And when you're not doing well, everybody is going to be critical of you.
Yeah, and you just that's part of the gig. And Meyer navigated it. Spurrier navigated it. But, there are guys that you can't do it. You just can't do it because it caves in on you. I mean, Dan Mullen people don't realize Dan Mullen until that last year was successful at Florida.
Definitely.
2 SEC championship games, I believe, if my memory serves me.
Just one.
Just one?
Just one appearance.
And that was the COVID year.
That was the COVID year.
They didn't have a second one before then?
They did not. Not under him.
Okay. Well, Mullen won double-digit games multiple times at Florida.
Yes.
And that last year had a losing record.
Yes.
And was gone. And made the mistake of talking about recruiting you do after the season, which we all know you don't in the SEC. But they couldn't wait to run Mullen off. Other people have self-inflicted wounds that ran them off. But at Florida, the minute they hire you, people are looking to fire you. That's just the reality of Florida. Obviously, the perfect guy to talk about is Lane Kiffin. Lane doesn't care what you say. He would probably be the perfect fit of modern coaches who are successful right now. I feel like that's the guy that probably could handle that heat and just go like this. Whatever, dude. Whatever. So there's Urban Meyer's idea of what goes on in Gainesville. All right, we'll get back in here. Firehouse subtext the hour, 803, 404-6100. Halftime show. Terry Ford, Tyler Head. Football in the 1 o'clock hour, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors. On the Game.
From the Midlands to the PD to the beach.
The Game Network.
Powered by Integrated Media. The Game TV.
Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass. A true reflection of quality.
The Game TV.
This is Andrew Bogish with a Sports Minute. It feels like Penny Hardaway isn't great at running a men's basketball program. Memphis is again facing allegations of recruiting and academic violations, which might explain why 4 staff members were abruptly fired yesterday, 2 months ahead of opening night. All that following 7 players and 5 staffers leaving after last season, which again ended without a tournament appearance. I'm Andrew Bogish.
Paramount Plus is once again your home to stream the NFL on CBS. Follow all the action and stream your live local NFL on CBS game every Sunday, all the way through the AFC Championship. Sign up, sign in, and start streaming Paramount Plus today.
Right now at Wendy's, you can get a small Frosty for $1. And literally everyone is going. The car behind you, going to get $1 Frosty. The car ahead of you, already had one, going for a second. The person who cut you off earlier? You guessed it, Dollar Frosty. Maybe it's all a sign for you to go get one. Just don't cut anyone off. No one likes that person. The iconic Frosty for $1? Gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Not valid in a combo. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, California, and via third-party delivery.
Paramount Plus is once again your home to stream the NFL on CBS. Follow all the action and stream your live local NFL on CBS game every Sunday, all the way through the AFC Championship. Sign up, sign in, and start streaming Paramount Plus today.
Is your crawl space damp or musty? Water in your crawl space can cause wood to rot and creates an environment for mold and mildew that can make its way inside your home. Canty Foundation Specialist specializes in crawl space repair. Call us today for your free inspection so you can have the peace of mind knowing your crawl space is dry and your home is protected. Call today, 803-424-8380, or visit cantycanfixit.com.
Is this house a good price compared to others in the area? Are prices going up or down? If I don't make an offer right this very moment, will I miss my chance? These are just some of the questions a home buyer might ask. And these are the sorts of questions an agent who is a realtor can help answer. Because realtors have the expertise, data, and access to specialty training to help you navigate the process of buying a home. They provide support, guidance, and have your back every step of the way. That's what realtors do, because that's who we are. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
Lowe's knows it's easier to make the right calls when you have the right team. That's why our Lowe's Red Vest associates can help with game time decisions. Plus, use in-store mode on the Lowe's app to find what you need. Under pressure at home and want it soon? Order online by 2 p.m. to get it same day. Same day valid on eligible in-stock items and select zip codes only, subject to driver availability. Fees vary based on purchase. Exclusions and more terms apply. See Lowe's.com/same-day delivery for details.
Hey guys, it's Jay Phillips for the Men's Clinic. Too often guys won't go to the doctor when they're feeling off, whether it's because they think they can tough it out or because they just don't want to talk about it. Don't be that guy. Get to feeling better after you see Dr. Dan Balknight and his team at the Men's Clinic. They are experts in health care for men and dedicated to making you feel like yourself again. You can schedule a free consultation by calling 803-875-MENS and learn more online at themensclinicsc.com.
The Halftime Show, sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina.
It's time for Text of the Hour on the Firehouse Subs text line on the Halftime Show.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence. And the 107.5 The Game app.
Time for our Firehouse Sub text of the hour at 803-404-6100. What do you got there, Tyler Head, on the old text line?
A lot of people weighing in on the tailgating food discussion, as you might imagine. Let's see. Fried chicken, a top 3 for sure.
I like fried chicken. It's a good idea. Tailgate, like it?
Let's see. Beaufort stew, shrimp and grits, chili, brats, burgers.
I love a brat, man. I love a brat. Brats are good. You a brat guy?
Yeah, from time to time.
When I lived in the Midwest, again in Wisconsin, brats are everywhere.
Well, I mean, you have those for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Dessert. They had brat pudding.
Yeah, and then you eat cheese curds as your side.
Cheese curds are good, man. They are very underrated as a cheese curd. Very underrated. Like me some shrimp. Good. Also, let's see what else you have on that list. The stew.
There's Low Country Boil also on the list. That's a little harder to pull off at a tailgate.
Yeah, it is. You remember the tailgate situation. Now, different tailgate. Oh, look, the tailgate has evolved like nobody's business, to the credit of people who do tailgating. A lot of tailgates are so good, you just keep the TV on and sit in the parking lot and watch the game.
Oh, there's plenty of people that do that at our party lot at Sound and Images. They don't go to the game. They're just sitting out there hanging out.
I don't know when that really started. I remember the first time I really noticed it. Because, when I would go to football games before, either I was doing media up in the media press box, or I'd go to some tailgate outside the tailgate lot. Mm-hmm. I I really started seeing it probably back in 2010.
Well, you didn't have as easy access to a portable TV back then.
It was about 2010, 2011 when I was in Boise. And we used to do a pregame show for Boise State. And we were up in this, it was really cool, kind of. It was almost like a scaffolding thing we had set up where you would climb up in the scaffolding and you were up above everything.
Okay.
Right across the street from the stadium. Now, it's a really good idea till the wind blows. Then it's not a great idea. Then all of a sudden you got a Michael Bay movie. But we'd be up there and you would see the people and you saw, and again, the TV thing has evolved so much, but even back then, people were setting up their TVs out in the lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, ooh, interesting. And they weren't leaving. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. You got your own food, got your own setup, got your TV there, and you got all your buds. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Not a bad idea. I like it. It's just funny because I love, we go back to the food. I love pizza. It's my favorite food. I love pizza.
Sure.
But it's not a tailgate.
Yeah, again, unless you're ordering it and they're bringing it there because pizza can be fine cold, but you'd prefer to eat it hot.
I'm not a cold pizza guy. Now, if I'm watching the game at home, I love to sit down and eat a pizza.
Sure.
Absolutely, but at a tailgate?
Yeah, unless you're, again, I don't know if you can make a pizza on a Blackstone. I guess you can. But
don't they have those little portable ones now you can take outside or something? So
I think so.
Maybe. I thought I saw a commercial for one on ESPN or whatever. But no, we appreciate the text. Hey, talk about tailgate food. According to this Vegas Insider, what was number one again?
You said sliders, right?
Sliders are one. The hot dogs finished last at number 10.
That's surprising.
I mean, I'm not a huge hot dog guy, but I see hot dogs all the time at tailgates.
Sure. I feel like it's probably one of the, if not the most popular food there.
You would think.
What do I know?
So what do we know? But like I said, these tailgates, you'll see some of them. Like I remember they would, when the 49ers are on Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football, they always have a shot of the tailgate. Man, you got wine. Mm-hmm. You've got filet mignon. I mean, these people, London broil. I mean, they've kicked it up a notch. So I guess different tailgates, but most of the tailgates I go to with poor schlubs like me, they ain't going steak. No. Not like that. Burgers, hot dogs, chicken wings, usually some chips.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, the whole nachos, I'm with you on the nachos.
Too
a little
messy.
sloppy. A little sloppy. I don't know if nachos and lots of drinking goes together on a tailgate.
No. Also, I mean, I don't know. It feels like something that could cause some issues before you head into the game.
Yes, in many different ways.
You have to be careful of that.
That's another thing you need to always think about.
You don't want to be missing the game because of what you ate in the tailgate.
It depends on what you put in those nachos.
Sure.
If you get creative, you're right. That could not end well. That could be a rough going with the nachos. Because I've seen some nacho platters with some stuff. And I'm thinking to myself going, I think I'll pass.
A little too much.
A little too much. Yeah. Again, I love nachos. Nachos are great.
Definitely an at-home food for me.
I won't disagree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm pretty simple on them. I like, give me the ground beef, give me the cheese, throw some of those scallions and stuff on it.
Sure.
I'm not real complex on the nachos. I'm pretty basic. But I'm like you. Eat them at home. I don't even get them out because you get them all over the place.
Oh, totally.
Great date food. You look so impressive as you have nacho sauce on your chin. Kiss me. All right, what's trending at 2? Coming up, sponsored by Gamecock Traditions and Traditions Fine Jewelry on the game.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20,000 off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Bothered by back, neck, shoulder, or joint pain? Get back in the game with The Joint Chiropractic. No appointment is necessary and no need to worry about insurance. The new patient special includes a consultation, exam, and chiropractic adjustment for just $29. Walk in today without an appointment. It's affordable and clinics are conveniently located in Forest Acres, Harbison, Killian, and Lexington. Learn more at thejoint.com. At The Joint Chiropractic, you don't have to feel bad to feel better.
There's no better place to be on a fall Saturday than at Williams-Brice Stadium. Single game tickets for the 2024 Gamecock football season are on sale now. Discounted single game tickets are also available for first responders, teachers, military, and more. To see what's planned for the 2024 season and to purchase tickets, visit GamecocksOnline.com/2024. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game.
This year, Roy and Dana Finley are shaking things up at AAA Heating and Air. For the next 12 months, they're telling their customers no. Get a new system purchase with no payments and no interest for a whole year. You heard that right. Purchase a brand new system in 2024 and get no payments and no interest until 2025. Do what I did. Call AAA Heating and Air today for your free estimate. 803-677-1500. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
AAA Air when you need us. AAA Heating and Air.
Morisco's Don Cameron is the sweet deal of the week. Get a $50 gift certificate for just $25. Visit 1075thegame.com beginning this Friday at 9 a.m. to get your $50 gift certificate to Morisco's Don Cameron for just $25. Enjoy Gamecock football Saturday at Columbia Craft Brewing Company on Green Street. Whether the game is home or away, Columbia Craft can be your tailgate headquarters. Enjoy a tasty treat from their lineup of local food trucks with any of Columbia Craft brews. Locally owned and operated, the enthusiasm Columbia Craft drinkers have for game days is awesome. Be there each Saturday to experience a new kind of tailgating. Columbia Craft is proudly distributed throughout the Midlands by KW Beverage. To try some of the brews handcrafted in Columbia, go to kwbeverage.com and hit the product hunter to find locations. Calling all business owners and property managers. Is it finally time to get that parking lot or driveway repaved? Call Black Seal today. Black Seal is a locally owned commercial asphalt construction and maintenance company, servicing local churches, schools, shopping centers, warehouses, restaurants, you name it. If it needs asphalt paving or asphalt repair, Black Seal has you covered. If you're looking to pave your parking lot or driveway, Black Seal paves the way. Black Seal also provides maintenance options to maintain your asphalt and improve your curb appeal. Get your free estimate and visit blacksealsc.com to learn more.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevy. It's back to cool season with big time savings on Tahoe Suburbans and the all new Chevy Traverse. I-26 at Harbison at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
After being almost $500,000 in tax debt, I was listening to the radio one day and heard a ad for John Ecton Law Firm. So I gave him a call and met with him, and he gave me the confidence to trust him after the reason behind my tax problems anyways was trusting someone I probably should have never trusted. He did everything he said he was going to do and then some. His staff at the office were great, very knowledgeable. With John's help, I have no tax debt now, and I was able to have a family that otherwise I would have never been able to have.
It's great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. So if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today at 771-9800 or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today. You'll be glad you did.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
The home of the national champion, Gamecocks women's basketball team. Congrats, y'all.
A Cumulus media station.
What's trending at 2?
Sponsored by Traditions Fine Jewelry and Gamecock Traditions.
2 locations in Lexington and Sandhills. On the Halftime Show, your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Halftime show, Terry Ford and Tyler Head here on The Game as we go up until 3 o'clock. Post-game show with Jay and Elijah coming up at 3. We'll be at Hardee's 3 to 6, 496 Piney Grove Road. Round up your bill to the nearest dollar at Hardee's. It's a Hardee's Roundup to help Harvest Hope Food Bank for students. Get the kids some food. It's for a good cause. So we here at the game and our whole cluster here teaming up with Hardee's for this Hardee's Roundup program. All right, what's trending at 2, sponsored by Traditions Fine Jewelry and Gamecock Traditions. What's trending at 2, first of all, is South Carolina's offense. Let's take a look, because we said we were going to do this this afternoon. A lot of times your first 10, 15 plays are scripted. Most coordinators script the first 10, 15 in college, sometimes up to 20 in the NFL. It just depends. So do we get anything out of this, Tyler? Here we go.
Okay.
This is not the first drive was short field, you recover the fumble. It wasn't
a drive.
Wasn't a drive. First real drive. 13 plays. First and 10, Lennar Sellers runs for 4. Second down, Rocket Sanders goes for 10 and a first down. You got first down, Lennar Sellers goes for 23 and another first down. Now you're in Old Dominion territory inside the 40. Sellers throws that little pass in the backfield to Michael Smith that really wasn't a good decision, and you lost 3 yards.
Yep.
After that play, though, you have Rocket Sanders going for 9, Lennar Sellers going for 3, 4th and 1 at the Old Dominion 29. Rocket runs for 2 and a first down. So far, we see a lot of the word run.
Yes.
First and 10 to 27, Sellers goes for 6. Oscar Attaway goes for 5. Now you're sitting first and 10 inside the ODU 20. Sellers goes for 2. Sanders, no gain. Now you're sitting at 3rd and 8 at the 14. Sellers gets sacked on the delay blitz, and now you're kicking the field goal.
Yep.
A lot of running. Could there have been some maybe RPOs in there for Sellers, and he chose to run? But you ran the football a ton. You didn't throw the ball down the field at all. Didn't throw it past the line of scrimmage at all on the drive. And the one time there was the obvious passing situation, you get sacked. I thought it was interesting, 2nd and 8, you ran the ball again, and now you're at 3rd and long inside the red zone. That's when you get sacked. So it was a lot of run in that first drive. And was that the script? Possibly. Again, could there have been some run-pass option for Lenoris and Sellers picked running it? Could have been that too, but heavy dose of run.
Yeah, and that either tells you you're really confident in what you do, not only with the running backs and your quarterback, but your offensive line being able to open up holes for you, or you just don't have as much confidence in your wide receivers, and it possibly could be a combination of both.
Yeah, it could be, or, and I talked about this, I think we talked about this yesterday. And maybe it could be something this simple that, because, again, we always look around for all these different things. Could it have been as simple as, okay, we think we're better than Old Dominion. We think our offensive line can win against the Old Dominion defensive front. We are going to go out on Saturday against a team we believe we're better than, and we're going to set our identity of being a physical football team that runs the ball. Could have been that simple. We're going to take this script to start this game, and we're just going to run the ball and see how that goes and see if we can impose our will on the Monarchs. For a bit you did, but then once Old Dominion started bringing here's the thing, though. Once they start bringing their defenders closer to the line of scrimmage, all of a sudden the box isn't as empty. Your adjustment or plan B should then be, okay, now we're going to throw over them.
Yes.
But South Carolina kept running the ball. And that's why I just go to that point of, is it just as simple as the game plan was, we're going to run? Because right now we are more of a running team than a throwing team. We're still working on the throwing part with all these new pieces, but we know we can run it, so we're going to run it. Could be that simple. I don't know. But usually when a defense comes up to take away your running game, that opens up somewhere in the defensive backfield, you'll be able to pass the ball.
Theoretically, yes.
So maybe they just as simple as we're running it, and that's what we're doing today. And we'll see where it ends up. We're running this thing a lot.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what the plan is for Saturday because, again, you're taking a much better defense in Kentucky, one that's very good against the run, top 20 nationally last year. Do you think you have what it takes to run at will against them?
And the other part of this is Kentucky usually, and they give up one explosive in the passing game to Southern Miss. Kentucky typically, Mark Stoops doesn't want to let you beat them deep. Kentucky does not want to give up big plays in the passing game. They'll give you the shorty stuff and come up and hit you. So are you going to take the short stuff with the guys like the Jared Browns, who are good yak yard guys? Or are you going to get the ball to Brown in space and let him see if he can maneuver? Now, is this where, if they give you that, like Kentucky has in the past, are you going to now go to the Jared Brown, hitches, bubbles, short crossers, whatever, and get him the ball and say, okay, dude, break some ankles and let's pick up some yards? Gage Larvadain, how healthy could Gage Larvadain be? He's another guy that can pick you up some yak. What's he going to do? Juju McDowell in open space. So we'll see what South Carolina does depending on what Kentucky gives them. But it's obviously much different than going up against Old Dominion.
Sure.
Much different.
Sure.
All right, what's trending at 2, sponsored by Gamecock Traditions and Traditions Fine Jewelry. This is a story, man. This is an absolute WTF, isn't it? All right, and this is so Washington football. We're talking about the professional team in D.C. You thought, okay, the Daniel Snyder stink is gone. We got new ownership. Feels like we're going in the right direction. All the crazy is past us.
You would have thought.
In the words of Lee Corso?
Not so fast, my friend.
Not so fast, my friend. All right, so I got to move my computer closer to me, so I got tilted. The lighting's weird. The Washington Commanders have fired an employee one day after a video surfaced in which he made comments about the team's players being anti-gay, accused Cowboys owner Jerry Jones of being a racist, called NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell a $50 million puppet, also took a shot at the fans, calling them mouth breathers. You're saying, Tara, why would this guy say this out loud on a video? Because first of all, when this gets out loud, you're fired.
Oh, totally.
You're fired.
Totally.
You're fired. Whether you're telling the truth or not does not matter. You're fired, right?
Yep.
You're just done. Well, this member of the organization, his name, so we can get this out. Rael Enteen, Raelenteen. I might have got it right. I might not have. Doesn't really matter at this point. Washington had suspended Enteen on Wednesday, shortly after the video from O'Keefe Media Group. We're going to get to this. Was played on social media platforms by O'Keefe Media Group. According to the video, wait for it. You're saying, well, why would this guy do a video for O'Keefe Media Group saying all these things? Why would you do that? It's very simple. He didn't know. Oh, this is unreal. So, according to the video, Enteen, the guy that just got fired by the Commanders, had met a woman on a dating app called Hinge. She turned out not to be just a woman looking for a date, but she turned out to be an undercover reporter for the media group. They met twice in June at restaurants in D.C. Quote from the Commanders, the language used in the video runs counter to our values at the Commanders organization. Really, they should have said, these are Daniel Snyder's values. Enteen told we won't get into all this, but it's stuff about who's anti-gay, who's not, who's overly religious on the team, who's not, talking about just different things about the team makeup. There are things you really can't say on a video.
Sure.
Or really, you can't let it get out if you think this way.
Right.
Also, Enteen said, I don't think the commissioner of the NFL hates gay people or hates black people, but Jerry Jones, who really runs the NFL, I do think he hates gay people and black people. And he talked about let's see what else. He called the league's social justice initiatives performative.
Mm-hmm.
And he also says that they fake prioritize DEI for the sake of good publicity. And then he said, most of the fans are high school educated alcoholics and mouth breathers. And Teen also told the reporter, whose name was not revealed and who can be heard on the video but not seen, that his job was to sell hope. 3 years ago, there were videos of pipes leaking at then FedEx Stadium. Fans said it smelled like sewage, but Teen said he tweeted out it was just water. He said it is state-run media. Now, whether this guy is right or wrong about anything doesn't matter, because, again, once you say these things on a video that get on social media, you're now an ex-employee.
Sure.
But I'm going to say this. And I know undercover people are used in life in a lot of things. Reporters, I get it. But here's the thing about all that. This guy thought he was on a date.
Yes.
And there's two thoughts on this for me about him going on a date. Number one, people say things when they're in a relaxed atmosphere. They say a lot of things that they would never say in front of anybody.
Of course.
Especially in the world we live in today. That's so politically correct. And you can have bad things happen to you for using the wrong word today.
Sure.
If you didn't know it was the wrong word, right? So people let their guard down when they're in a comfortable setting that they believe is not being videoed, so to speak. Because I always say this. What if someone got into your house and started videotaping you without your knowledge and you thought you were comfortable? What are you saying?
Right.
Any of us. Because I think a lot of people let their guard down in the privacy of their own home more than they do if they're out in public. Or if you're with someone you think you're comfortable with and you can start talking.
Yeah.
So I look, you get fired over this, but do I feel bad kind of that you got kind of okey-doked undercover, you got catfished? But I'll say this. Let me ask you, you're on a date, right? You meet somebody on a dating app.
Yes.
Hinge.
Yes.
Why are you saying these things on a first or second date?
That was my question, is like you are unpacking a lot of very deep details of your job and your thoughts on said job to somebody that you've just met.
You're going on a date 1 and 2, and you're saying all these things on date 1 or 2. You're really thinking, wow, this person and I have a serious love connection, right?
You are entrusting a lot of very interesting pieces of information and opinions to this person.
On your first and second date.
Yeah.
Now, my first thought was this. She must be hot, right? Or B, you're desperate looking for something, right? And you want to try to impress someone with, hey, I work for the Washington Commanders. Let me tell you some things, I think.
Yes, so.
All I know is this. I've retired from dating. A girlfriend probably wouldn't like the fact if I wasn't retired from dating.
Yeah, of course.
But I would never in my life on a first or second or a third or fourth or fifth date unload this kind of baggage.
Yeah.
Ever. So at the end of the day, I got to say this. My man, this is on you. So why in the heck are you saying this stuff to someone you barely know? Do you think this is impressing them to want to go out with you more?
It didn't work.
And I know she's leading him because she's undercover and she's videotaping, but I don't care what you're asking me. I'm not giving you these answers. Right?
Right, yeah.
Let's go to the Tyler Head dating life. What would you do on the first couple dates? Would you be blathering like this guy?
Probably not, because if it doesn't work out, guess what? That person, even if they're not a reporter, they're just going to tell other people what you said.
Yes, forget videotaping. They're going to go tell people. Wow, what a story. Man. All right, what's trending at 2? Sponsored by Gamecock Traditions, Nutrition's Fine Jewelry. We'll get back some more Clayton White audio that was not illegally videotaped. And also, the Kansas City Chiefs superfan gets his halftime show on the game.
107.5 The Game.
In Columbia.
100.5 The Game.
In Florence.
100.3 The Game.
In Myrtle Beach. The Game Network. Everyone wants you to pay for their streaming app. You gotta have this one, you gotta have that one. Well, not us, here at The Game. Why? Because we love you more than they do. Just go to iTunes or Google Play and download the 107.5 The Game app for free. 107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20,000 off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
The game of football is about pain. Ever since I was 5 years old, it's been all about football. It's been about running, jumping, blocking, tackling. I stopped playing at 31.
You're listening to Michael Robinson, retired pro fullback.
I thought that foot pain was going to be with me for the rest of my life. I'm so glad I met Good Feet. I'm so glad those arch supports are in my shoes.
The Good Feet Store. Call 1-800-NEW-FEET or visit goodfeet.com.
Hulsenbach Heating and Air, the Midlands residential HVAC specialist. Call us today at 803-685-7920. That's 803-685-7920. Hulsenbach Heating and Air, proud supporter of Gamecock football. Start making your plans to catch a game at Williams-Brice Stadium this fall. Single game tickets for the 2024 Gamecock football season are on sale now. For more information, visit GamecocksOnline.com/2024. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game.
Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union wants to reward you for saving more of your hard-earned money, and they can't think of a better way to do it than with more cash. When you participate in Palmetto Citizens Save to Win program, every time you make a savings deposit of just $25, you'll be entered into a monthly and quarterly prize drawing for a chance to win up to $5,000. All the money that piles up in your Save to Win account is yours to keep, along with the interest you earned, so there's never been a better time to get the ball rolling on your savings plan. With a Save to Win account, there's nothing to lose and everything to win. Open your 12-month Save to Win term certificate account and start saving today by visiting any of Palmetto Citizens' 14 branches across the Midlands, or go to palmettocitizens.org to learn more. Palmetto Citizens, proudly serving the Midlands since 1936. Account may be subject to penalty for early withdrawal. This credit union is federally insured by the NCUA.
It's that time of year where fall is upon us and football is back, and there's no better place to catch all of the action than at Steel Hands Brewing. Steel Hands Brewing is your destination brewery for any and all music and events, including their annual Oktoberfest coming up Friday, October 4th. Activities include authentic German music, contests, and a delicious menu of Oktoberfest-themed delights, plus the launch of their fest beer. There's something for everyone at Steel Hands Brewing, hand-forged right here in Casey.
Have a passion for serving children and families? Apply to become a child welfare case manager at dss.sc.gov. This message is sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Social Services.
From lazy days and spontaneous adventures to revving up and reconnecting, you can almost feel the excitement building, the road ahead, and a whole new season of possibilities. It's back to cool time right now at Love Chevy, with amazing savings on a lot chock full of brand new Tahoes, Suburbans, and the totally redesigned Chevy Traverse. A bolder exterior design, turbocharged V6, best-in-class cargo area, plenty of space for the team and the tailgate. Speaking of football, every day is game day at Love Chevy, where it's all about the fundamentals, honesty, integrity, and straight talk. No ridiculous add-on stickers like the other guys. And who could forget about Love Chevy's $1,000 low price guarantee? Get back to cool today at South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer, I-26 at Harbison, and at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
That's the power of love. Love Chevy.
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line, 803-404-6100.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence. The Halftime Show, sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina, on your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach
and 100.5 The Game in Florence. And the 107.5 The Game app.
All right, we are rolling what's trending at 2 here on the Halftime Show. Sponsored by Traditions Fine Jewelry and Gamecock Traditions. All right, so Dylan Stewart obviously had a big debut as a freshman right out the chute. co-SEC Defensive Lineman of the Week, along with his teammate Kyle Kennard. Won the Sean Alexander Freshman of the Week award. A lot of love for Dylan Stewart. And obviously, if you watched it, you know why, against Old Dominion. Here is Clayton White, defensive coordinator for the Gamecocks, doing a Dylan Stewart comparison.
Yes, obviously different players have all types of traits and attributes where they showcase their skill set. So obviously, he's not a big Bradley Chubb. I coached Bradley Chubb at NC State. Bradley Chubb is a bigger kind of Kyle Kennard kind of body. He's the guy that I've coached the most that's similar to Dylan, not as tall as Dylan, was D'Angelo Malone from Western Kentucky. I think he was a 2-time Conference USA Player of the Year one time when I was there for sure. He's with the Falcons now. That's the closest that I've been to that I've coached. I've seen other guys, on TV. But as far as being on the defensive side that I've been coordinating, that's the first one for sure.
So, yeah, there's some comparisons with throughout Bradley Chubb. That one you're most familiar with from his time at NC State. And, of course, Chubb, first-round pick in the NFL draft. Injuries have really, derailed Chubb in Denver, now in Miami. But when Chubb's healthy, he gets after it. We'll see what Stewart does. Kentucky, very veteran offensive line, brought in a bunch of dudes from the portal to try to rebuild the old Big Blue Wall. We'll see how that goes. Southern Miss didn't get much pressure on Brock Vandegrift. It was only, 35 minutes of football because of the weather. I think only 4 pressures. So we'll see, was that because the Kentucky offensive line has now been rebuilt and it's heading back the way it used to be, which was really good, or just Southern Miss couldn't bring it. But we'll see. That'll be one of the biggest matchups, obviously, in this game will be Dylan Stewart, Kyle Kennard versus the Kentucky pass protection. That will be big. And again, we get it started at 10:30 from O'Hara's Main Street in Lexington. We go 10:30 to 12:30 with Gamecocks game day. Then 3:30, the viewing party. Now, if you show up and hang out and watch the game at O'Hara's, you register and you could win Gamecock season tickets for the rest of the football season. And you watch a football game and you eat some good food and you knock down some nice beverages. You watch a game and who knows, you might win some tickets. So that is at O'Hara's. Gamecocks game day pregame 10:30 to 12:30. And then our viewing party starting up at 3:30 at O'Hara's again. Main Street in Lexington, O'Hara's Public House. All right, so another bizarre story day. Bizarre story number 2. Chiefs superfan, known as Chiefsaholic, was sentenced to 17 and a half years in prison without parole and 3 years supervised release today for committing a string of armed robberies across the United States. Old Chiefaholic admitted to stealing more than $800,000 in 11 robberies across 7 states and laundering the proceeds through casinos. He pleaded guilty to 1 count of bank robbery, 1 count of money laundering, and 1 count of transporting stolen property across state lines. This guy was at Chiefs games. He'd be dressed, head to toe in a wolf suit. He had this big persona. And then you find out he was knocking off robberies across 11 states. His attorney said the robberies were driven by a gambling addiction. It's not an addiction to gambling. It's not an addiction to the Chiefs. It's an addiction to fame. How that all puts itself together, I don't know. But that's what his attorney said. So, wow, it's just another crazy story. Another crazy story. So, tonight in the NFL, not crazy, but we will see the Chiefs and the Ravens go at it. You can hear it right here, 7:30 pregame, 8:20 kick. Again, I think the Chiefs at home beat the Ravens. They've handled the Ravens in the Mahomes, Lamar Jackson era. Kansas City's won. They've only lost once to the Ravens in that time, including the AFC Championship game last year. So my thought process, I just feel like Kansas City, the Ravens are breaking in 3 new offensive linemen. The wide receiver room has changed a little bit. They have added Derrick Henry, so the thought is you should have an even better running game with Henry and Lamar. But I just think the Chiefs at home will win. And the Chiefs could very well three-peat. I don't think I've ever thought a team could three-peat. But Kansas City, you add Xavier Worthy. If Marquise Brown can stay healthy at wide receiver, you've added some weapons at wide receiver. If you can get your offense back to being explosive, your defense is now really good. You might be tough to tangle. In the AFC, obviously you have the Ravens. The Bills don't look as strong. They didn't do a whole lot to replace Stephon Diggs. That's a head-scratcher to me. I don't know what the Bengals will be. They've had the issues with Jamar Chase and some other stuff going on, but you have Joe Burrow back. Cleveland, if they had a real quarterback, or if Deshaun Watson becomes a real quarterback again, the Browns are dangerous. They got weapons on offense. They got a heck of a defense. Their quarterback play's been awful. And the Texans are a wild card in the AFC. You figure you make the playoffs in C.J. Stroud's first year, you've got all this young talent. You should advance more in year two. I mean, we'll see. I don't know. But I feel like the Chiefs have a shot here, if they stay healthy, to have their three-peat opportunity in the Super Bowl. I would not be surprised, man.
No, I'm excited to see what a guy like Xavier Worthy can bring to that passing attack, which, again, was, less than stellar a year ago, and they somehow still managed to win the Super Bowl when their guys couldn't hang on to the ball to save their lives. And I think that just shows you how good the Chiefs as an organization are, that can even not have their best year and still walk away with the Lombardi Trophy. So if they can up what they have in the passing game this year, I think they're going to be hard to stop. I mean, again, whenever you have 15 on the field, you're always going to bet towards him. I mean, he's not really giving you many reasons to pick against him. You have, you're not having Chris Jones hold out this time. You got all of your defensive key pieces to start the season. So, we won't have to talk about the sky falling like losing to Detroit last year, even if they do lose this game tonight.
Okay.
But it's hard to pick against the Chiefs.
So think about 15's career, Mahomes. The Chiefs have never done anything worse than play in the AFC Championship game.
And he still is, the Baltimore game, that was his first playoff game. Mm-hmm. That's right.
So didn't they go to Buffalo? I thought they went to Buffalo and then went to Baltimore.
Maybe they did go. Okay, so he's played on the road twice in his career, but it took, 7 years into his career for that to happen?
I mean, the Chiefs have been to 4 Super Bowls and 2 AFC Championship games with Mahomes as a starter. They have never, ever been worse than the AFC Championship game.
Insane.
In his career.
And they showed no signs of slowing down.
And, the thing that gets me is this whole, again, one-loss record for quarterbacks to me is it's just not it's an insane stat in the ultimate team game. But what does a quarterback do to affect wins and losses? That's a different conversation. Mm-hmm. This guy, no matter what, affects wins. He might not be having the greatest game in the world, but guess what? Fourth quarter shows up. Who shows up in the fourth quarter with him?
That's him.
Mahomes.
Yep.
Look at last year. Even in the season, he had his worst statistical numbers of his career. He still had those moments in games where, when it was go time, Mahomes steps up.
Yep.
That's it's his career right now. This first 6-year run as a starter, we've never seen anything like it.
No.
Nothing. Not a thing. So that's tonight. Kansas City hosting Baltimore again. We get it going here, 7:30 pre, 8:20 kick on the game in Columbia. And I believe also in Florence they're carrying the game as well. All right. What is today, Tyler?
September 5th.
Greatest day in the history of the world. Next, here on the Halftime Show on the Game.
The Game Network in Columbia.
107.5 The Game.
In Florence.
100.5 The Game.
In Myrtle Beach.
100.3 The Game.
It's back! The Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Contest. Just go to 1075thegame.com and register. The pot starts at $100. Every week it increases $100 if Carolina doesn't score a special teams touchdown. But if the Gamecocks do score a special teams touchdown, you could win the pool. Again, just go to 1075thegame.com and register. It's the Lawyer Lisa Special Teams Contest from 1075 The Game.
You know, when you got stuff going on with you, you would like personalized assistance, right? Personalized help. You don't want cookie cutter because, you know what, last time I checked, everybody's different. That's what happens to the Men's Clinic of South Carolina. You get personalized care. You come in because you're just not feeling right. You're not feeling like you anymore. Whether it's Life Drive, whether it's sleeping, working out, recovering from a workout, your brain isn't cooking the way it used to, whatever the case. Maybe your sleep isn't right. It could just be low testosterone. So what'll happen, you come in for a free confidential consultation with Dr. Dan and the staff. They talk with you. If they think it could be something as simple as low testosterone, they'll do some lab work. If it is low T, they will put you in a personalized program for you to get you back to being you again. 803-875-MENS. Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Make the call. Get yourself feeling like you again with personalized service from the Men's Clinic.
Get ready to smile because Herndon Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy dealer, is offering an amazing deal right now. Get up to $20,000 off new Silverados. Yes, you heard that right. Up to $20,000 off. Don't wait. Head over to HerndonChevy.com today and drive home in the truck of your dreams. Chevy, together let's drive.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile.
Call 803-510-5447 for complete details.
Hi, Jen here. Did you know you could earn up to 4.59% annual percentage yield with All South Federal Credit Union's premium checking account? That's 30 times more than the national average interest checking rate, which means more money in your bank account each month. Plus, they have 23 locations right here in the Midlands. Open an account online at allsouth.org or visit an All South location today to start earning more. All South is federally insured by the NCUA.
Powered by Integrated Media, The Game TV.
Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality.
The Game TV.
Sponsored by Shepherd's Glass.
Hey guys, Jay Phillips and Grayson Griner here for our friends at Integrated Media. Grayson, now that you and the family have settled into life after years in the bigs, I hear you've added to what Integrated Media had already done around the house. Tell us what makes your system so much fun to use.
Yeah, Jay, Integrated Media has taken care of us from day one. Everything they do looks fantastic, everything they do sounds fantastic, and everything runs seamlessly when it comes to our smart home. In today's day and age of streaming everything, having a strong Wi-Fi connection throughout the house is critical, and Integrated Media is the best in the business at setting you and your family up with everything you could ever need.
Now, I don't know about you, but having an outdoor system that looks and sounds like the indoors is better than I could have imagined.
Yeah, one of the perks of living in the Midlands of South Carolina is enjoying time outdoors virtually year-round. From weatherproof mounted televisions to outdoor speaker systems, Integrated Media is the standard when it comes to outdoor entertainment. They're the only people I would ever recommend when it comes to outfitting your smart home indoors or out.
Work with the best in the business, and that's our friends at Integrated Media. Grayson and I can't recommend them highly enough. See their work on Facebook and Instagram, then call them up at 803-948-8327 and get Integrated Media into your home today.
The Firehouse Captain's Club features their signature Captain Sorensen's hot sauce and their new Firehouse Hero Sauce, along with savory oven-roasted chicken, melted pepper jack cheese, crushed red pepper flakes, crispy smoky bacon, lettuce, tomato, and onions. Be sure to try the Captain's Club today at any one of the 14 Midlands Firehouse locations. Order ahead with the Rapid Rescue to go. But if a sampling platter is more your style, get all of your game day tailgate needs online at firehousesubs.com. Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen. It's that time of year where fall is upon us and football is back, and there's no better place to catch all of the action than at Steel Hands Brewing. Steel Hands Brewing is your destination brewery for any and all music and events, including their annual Oktoberfest coming up Friday, October 4th. Activities include authentic German music, contests, and a delicious menu of Oktoberfest-themed delights, plus the launch of their Fest beer. There's something for everyone at Steel Hands Brewing, hand-forged right here in Casey.
The Halftime Show, sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina.
The greatest day in the history of the world on the Halftime Show is sponsored by 1-800-GET-JUNK. We make junk disappear. All you have to do is point.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
And the 107.5 The Game app.
Welcome back into the halftime
show. Terry Ford, Tyler Head. Time to get to the greatest day in the history of the world, September 5th. We always start, and I like this whole, let's start with the thing that goes way, way back.
Sure.
We've run into some kooky stuff, dude. About the things that happened 120 years ago?
Uh-huh.
Whatever it's been. All right, so for September 5th, oh, Jesus, it's refreshing on me now. It's always good. I always love when this happens. It's really weird with the AP because it goes like this, for an example. September 6th, September 6th, September 4th, and then finally September 5th. Why doesn't today pop up first?
That's weird. I don't know.
You're screwing me, AP. All right, on this day in 1922, who won't forget this? The U.S. beats Australia 4-1 to capture the Davis Cup for the third straight year.
I remember like it was yesterday, Terry.
Unreal, man. A lot of the early things here is because again the U.S. Open is going on this week.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of tennis stuff.
I'll watch the highlights on YouTube later.
But here's the thing, 1922. It's the Davis Cup. It's so funny, just the way the world changes, right? And this is the one that hits me when I look at this. When I was younger, because when I was growing up as a little Terry Ford, you had like John McEnroe and Andre Agassi and Pete Sampras. As I grew into an adult, Michael Chang, Jim Courier, and way back, you had Jimmy Connors in the 70s, Arthur Ashe. I mean, U.S. tennis had dudes.
Mm-hmm.
And U.S. tennis was more popular in this country when I was younger because you had really good players that, won major championships.
Right.
People played tennis. Now they're filled with pickleball people. It used to be tennis courts filled with actual tennis players. And it's different. It's not like that now. It really isn't. So the Davis Cup was a thing. Like, remember, when I was a kid, ESPN was dying to cover anything that would give them, content, right, to fill air.
Sure.
They'd run the Davis Cup when the U.S. would take on, and, of course, you went through different levels of the Davis Cup tournament to win the Davis Cup. I remember McEnroe was a huge Davis Cup guy. And so Davis Cup was like a thing. Plus, like the Ryder Cup in golf, you got all these individual players in tennis teaming up, right?
Yeah.
For their countries. So it was a thing back when I was young. Now, who won the Davis Cup last year?
No clue.
Me either. I was going to look it up just for fun. I got no idea. I have no idea anything about the Davis Cup for years.
Hold on. I'll get you an answer to that.
Yeah, but it was a thing when I was younger, winning the Davis Cup. It was on TV, the U.S., it kind of mattered to a section of people in the country. And it's gone. It's gone. But very interesting, 1922. That happened. Also on this day, and again, there's a lot of tennis. So we'll kind of move around all this. 2013. This is one I don't want to remember. Peyton Manning ties the NFL record with 7 touchdown passes against the defending Super Bowl champion Baltimore Ravens as the Broncos win 49-27 in the season opener.
I remember that one.
I do too. Manning becomes the 6th player to throw for that many TDs and the first since Joe Kapp in 1969. Yeah, my Ravens got curb stomped that night in Denver.
Yeah, that was really Peyton's last good year because, and yeah, I know they won the Super Bowl in his final year, but he couldn't throw a ball to save his life, couldn't feel his fingers.
He had no neck, remember?
Yeah. I mean, they won on the strength of that defense, but that 2013 season was kind of the last hurrah for Peyton Manning, as good as Peyton Manning could be.
Yeah.
And obviously that farce of a Super Bowl ended up happening, but
yeah,
that was ugly.
Yeah, it just, Peyton Manning, I remember when they won, and this is why I always say, too, this whole, judging guys by rings. In that playoff run for the Broncos, when they went and won the Super Bowl and beat Carolina and Cam Newton, they were winning despite Peyton Manning.
Oh, I mean, they had to bench him halfway through the year.
I mean, remember,
Brock Osweiler was playing quarterback for some of those games.
Think about that for a minute. You were Peyton Manning, and you got benched for the Osweiler, which sounds like some rare bird in New Zealand.
Yeah.
But Manning, I remember the AFC Championship game, they beat New England. Manning threw like 2 first-half touchdown passes. That's all Peyton Manning did in that entire postseason run. The Super Bowl, remember all the great things Peyton Manning did in the Super Bowl against Carolina?
No.
Because he didn't do any.
Yeah. They just said, all right, try not to drop the ball when it snapped to you, hand it off, or throw off a dump-off pass to Demaryius Thomas or something like that, and let the defense do the rest.
Again, it goes back to what I said earlier. How does not a quarterback win-loss record, but how does a quarterback affect wins and losses? Yeah. In that day, Peyton Manning, the only thing he did was not do anything stupid to turn the ball
just
over.
Don't screw it up.
Right.
Basically.
Exactly. So again, when we're always jumping up and down about rings for quarterbacks, no, how does he affect the game? How does his play affect wins and losses? That's what matters, not the one-loss record.
And very similarly to what we're seeing now, again in the AFC, where you have, all right, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow, all these great quarterbacks on one side here that are continually having to compete with each other. And again, Patrick Mahomes is the one that keeps going to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Joe Burrow slipped in there a couple years ago, but it's mainly been Patrick Mahomes that's, if he wasn't there, if he was on the NFC side, we would see Lamar Jackson, we'd see Josh Allen, we'd see these other guys probably get a chance to be in the Super Bowl, but the Kansas City Chiefs keep getting in the way. The Patriots were in the same division or in the same conference as the Colts. If Tom Brady was playing the NFC the entire time, Peyton Manning takes the Colts to probably about 5 Super Bowls.
Exactly. And it sort of, again, it reminds me of when Michael Jordan was with the Bulls. Think about how many iconic Hall of Fame basketball players couldn't sniff a championship because of Michael Jordan.
Sure.
The Charles Barkleys, the Karl Malones, the Patrick Ewings, all these guys who were looked at as high-level players, they couldn't get rings. Why? Because MJ was hoarding all of them.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as Brady with Peyton Manning. Same thing as Mahomes now. And you're right. Look, this Mahomes Kansas City Chief run, if it continues, and let's say a Josh Allen and a Lamar Jackson and, a Joe Burrow never wins Super Bowls, and Mahomes goes on and gets a couple more for its all-star, or at least goes to more.
Sure.
That's what happens when an iconic, once-in-a-lifetime type player gets in your way.
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, 1998, Mark McGwire becomes the third player in baseball history to reach 60 home runs as the Cardinals beat the Reds 7-0. He joins Babe Ruth and Roger Maris with 60 homers in a single season. And, of course, that was the home run race with Sammy Sosa. When some reporter looked up and said, dude, that in your locker, what is androstenedione, which started the steroid era in the media.
Oh, it's my hair growth supplement.
Yeah, I need it for my arthritis. So McGwire hits his 60th home run. That home run race was cool.
I enjoyed the 30 for 30 they did on that.
Yes.
Because, I wasn't, old enough to know what was happening back then. I was 2. But, baseball, that was truly when baseball was still a national sport. It's not that anymore.
No, not at all. And that home run race was a cool thing that everyone followed with Sosa and with McGwire.
Now we're just going to get cut-ins of Aaron Judge trying to break his own record every, 30 minutes watching college football on Saturdays.
Right. Which makes folks so happy. Isn't that what's funny? That's how the world changed.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that cut-in annoys you.
Sure.
Trying to watch a game, bro.
Because most people outside of Yankees fans don't give a crap about what the Yankees are doing.
No. And that's the thing. Now, if Aaron Judge is playing for the Kansas City Royals and running for history, do you still get the same cut-ins? You would hope, but you don't know for sure, right?
Probably not. Not the same brand.
Yeah, so it's funny how the world changes over the years. All right, greatest day in the history of the world. We'll get back in here, talk with our buddy Jay Phillips as we get ready for the postgame show with Jay and Elijah. Also, our Firehouse subtext the hour, 803-404-6100. Halftime show, Terry Ford, Tyler Head, up until 3 here on The Game.
From the Midlands to the PD to the beach.
The Game Network.
Sips and Sounds, the only craft beer, wine, and spirits tasting event held indoors under the cool AC. No rain, no heat, no worries. Unlimited sampling of over 40 brands of local and national craft beers, wine, seltzers, and spirits. Live performances by Ken and Drew of Sister Hazel, Dazer, and the Donovan Twins.
Saturday, September 28th. Get your unlimited tasting wristbands now at sipsandsoundscola.com.
This is Jim Rome with a Sports Minute. We really made it. We did it. We finally did it. The long, hard, barren, desolate offseason has finally come to an end. Today marks the return of a cultural icon, the crown jewel of live entertainment in this country, the return of a weekly rhythm that defines our lives as American sports fans. That's right, the NFL. It's back. I'm Jim Rome.
Guess what, people? Wendy's has new saucy nugs. You heard me. Wendy's nugs now come in 7 saucy flavors. Buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, spicy ghost pepper. You can literally hear your taste buds after every bite. I'm serious. Listen to mine. Okay, that's just me playing with sound effects, but you got the idea. For a whole new way to nug, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's.
Uline is here for the hard workers. For the ones rolling up their sleeves, working round the clock, and getting the job done. You're dedicated to doing what it takes to keep a business growing. Uline is dedicated to helping you make that happen. Working 7 days a week, staying fully stocked and ready to ship any of our 41,000 items the same day. Uline, your shipping and industrial supply specialists. Visit uline.com.
Do you have sagging, soft, or bouncy floors in your home? Well, this could be a sign of rotten wood caused by moisture in your crawl space. Damaged wood in your crawl space can affect your home's foundation, and that can affect your home's value, and nobody wants that. Say goodbye to sagging floors and hello to a stable foundation. Contact Canty today for your free inspection at 803-424-8380 or visit CantyCanFixIt.com.
Meet Cheryl. Hey. She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Sorry, but we actually have a wait list for our Monstera.
Shaw's greenhouse is really bringing in the green.
We can't keep snake plants in stock.
She needs a construction manager to build on her roots and grow.
We could add a whole section for ferns, and here we'd have dahlias, and more dahlias.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey guys, Jay Phillips for the Men's Clinic. Not feeling like yourself as you get a little older? You're wondering why? Don't wait for it to change or go away. Instead, see Dr. Dan Bognight and his team at the Men's Clinic. You'll have a one-on-one consultation that will get to the root of the issue and get you back to feeling like you used to. There's no such thing as a one-size-fits-all treatment at the Men's Clinic. Get a free consultation. Schedule one at 803-875-MENS and learn more online at themensclinicsc.com.
The Halftime Show, sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina.
It's time for Text of the Hour on the Firehouse Subs text line on the Halftime Show.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence. And the 107.5 The Game app.
All right, time for our Firehouse Sub text of the hour.
You guys listen to Fish?
404-6100. We love Fish. You ever heard Fish?
Yeah, well, I've seen him like twice.
All right, what do you got there on the old text line? You and Fish. I never knew you ever listened to him. I'm stunned.
Going back to our conversation about the scripted plays for South Carolina, Thomas Sexter weighs in and says, I understand the first drive being mostly run plays. The new ODU's run defense was vulnerable against a power run game.
I mean, you give it a try and see where you're going, right? You want to run the ball. I feel like part of this also is you want to establish your identity as you are going to run the ball and be physical, because that's, at least early in the year, your calling card.
Sure.
And hopefully you develop a passing attack as you use your run game to kind of lead the way. So we understand why the first 10 to 15, that first drive, 13 plays, Jay Phillips, handoff brought to you by Little Pigs, Alpine Road.
Oh, look what you did there. It's a little double entendre.
I didn't even mean to, but hey, look at me.
Yeah.
I understand the idea that you're going to run the ball in that first drive. You had one throw to Michael Smith for -3, did not throw the ball downfield at all in that drive, and you had the sack on the 3rd and 8. You ran it pretty well on that drive till Old Dominion said, hey, they're running it a lot.
Yeah.
Let's start putting guys in the box. And then once you started doing that, then your offense ran into a little bit of trouble.
I think we knew Carolina was going to want to, not just on that first drive, but I think throughout this entire game, set a tone of running the football. Again, I don't think they wanted Lenoris to run as often as he did. Not to say they're mad at him for running 22 times. Again, I think he, half that, give or take, 12, 15, I don't know. Anyway, we discussed that earlier in the week. But I think South Carolina wanted to show everybody, hey, we can run, because for a while they could not. I mean, at times last year it was okay, with Mario, but not enough. And now that they've got a guy that wants to be showcased, and I think you have to go set that tone. But the fear we have, I say that loosely, would be Kentucky wanting to continue to make you one-dimensional and in a negative way.
Sure.
And so you've got to find a way, if they are really going to come after you with 7 up front or whatever it's going to be, you better find those holes. I think you got to get those tight ends like Michael Smith or all 4 of them more directly involved in the pass game. But to be out there, those guys are going to have to be more productive blocking than they were last week. I think the receivers understand from what Shane has been saying that their blocking has to be better too. Again, there's a lot that can be corrected. How quickly do you correct it? That's my question that I have today to let the cat out of the bag for what we're going to be discussing a little bit is how quickly can you expect some of these correctable issues to be corrected, especially looking at the defenses you play in the next 2 weeks?
Well, this defense you get Saturday, they got that Deion Walker guy who's just vile.
Seriously, Terry, how many, and I don't know, I got to go look at some draft projections and stuff, but I'm dead serious when I ask this question. Of the starting 22 that you'll see the next 2 weeks, 11 for Kentucky, 11 for LSU, how many of them are going to be drafted and play in the National Football League?
You're looking at a good amount of NFL dudes in some way, shape, or form
maybe half
getting
of them,
paychecks.
Maybe half of them will at least get an opportunity?
They're going to get an opportunity, absolutely. And look, we say we want about Mark Stoops, the head coach. I mean, his record in the SEC is terrible. He's 7-game Stoops and all that stuff. But that dude can coach defense.
Yeah.
He's a high-level defensive mind. And he's going to bring some stuff to confuse Lenoris on Saturday, and they've just got just physically and athletically they're good. And then you add in what Stoops is going to do in the chess game. Your execution has got to get a lot better on Saturday as a football team. And then, if you're going to double Walker, triple, quadruple, whatever you're going to do with Walker, if you're going to put 10 guys on Walker, whatever you're going to do, what is that going to leave you exposed to if you have to really go out of your way to stop that guy from wrecking your game plan?
Yeah.
That's another thought. I'm going to give you a stat, sir.
Okay.
I have 2 stats this year I'm digging. First of all, is success rate on first down, but how many times you gain 5 or more yards on first down.
Okay.
I looked at that earlier in the week. That was not very good, 26% of the time. You got to get better.
Yep.
Yards before contact for running backs. On Saturday, 50-some-odd carries by the running game. Only 61 yards before contact per SEC StatCat. You're only averaging barely over a yard before somebody's getting hands upon you. Flip side, Rocket Sanders averaged 3.67 yards after contact in that football game.
Yeah.
Because he's a dude.
No, that's like, they wanted to showcase him. So there's good and there's not terrible. There's correctable. But again, fear is the wrong word. I'm not here to be fearful. Neither is that football team. But concern.
I mean, we were talking about this in the first segment. The last thing you want to see is you go into Lexington and you get handled easily. It's the last thing you want.
Sure.
I mean, if you go in there and play football, let's say you lose by 3 at the gun. You don't want to lose, but you walk off the field going, you know what? Stood toe-to-toe.
Well, I expect it to be a one-score game.
I think it's going to be a close game.
I think it's going to be a one-score game.
Yeah, it always is, right? Pretty much with these two squads.
I mean, more than half the time, I think.
Yeah. And the way Kentucky plays with Stoops, they kind of keep you in games anyway. Right. So, hey, man,
and
we
the
got
NFL
coming up.
starts tonight. So
I know.
There's that.
I'm taking the Chiefs.
Jack Veltri talking more Gamecocks, and we'll get into a lot of NFL stuff.
All right, you and Elijah postgame show is next. Tyler, like always, my friend, nice work. We'll do it again tomorrow on the halftime show in the game.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20K off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Tommy! I can't wait for golf this weekend, huh, buddy? Time flies. Love you, man. Oh, don't forget your knee brace again. We aren't in college anymore.
Moments together matter, so help protect yourself from RSV.